Yo guys, welcome to the Zelda fiction. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto was the Xenomorph King and got Harem? Part 2. If you end up liking this video, please consider subscribe, so without further ado, let's get into the video. At the village gates, both Kotetsu and Izumo were still on guard as usually. They were a couple of minutes away from going back to their homes for the night once their shift was over. Their minds were still over earlier on the Moya Triad arrival. Izumo yawned, knowing he was about to fall asleep. He looked up at his watch, knowing it about to struck to 9 p.m. Just about 15 minutes to go and then we can go home. He said. Finally, I'm ready to call it a night after today. Kotetsu said, also yawning. By the way, haven't heard anything about those guys we saw once Team Guy arrived back at the village. Izumo wondered. The only news I heard is the other two brothers are currently in the hospital. One had a kunai wound, but the other we saw was really sick as hell. Kotetsu explained. The third brother was taken to the intelligence division for interrogation. Get some good answers on what happened to the three of them when they were on their way to the village. Their conversation was interrupted when a puff of smoke appeared out of nowhere. The two got into defensive stance, thinking an enemy infiltrated the village. Instead they were shocked to see the Anbu squad that left earlier to search for the convoy. 3 of the 6 squad came back. The boar-masked commander and the cat-masked female were badly wounded. The other Anbu was lying on the ground, dead but something covering his face. And it wasn't a mask. Izumo helped the commander on his feet while Kotetsu helped the female ninja as well. What took so long to get back? Where's the other squad? What happened to you two? Kotetsu asked. We were ambushed by these mysterious creatures. The commander said in a weak tone. Creatures? What are you talking about? Are you sure you're not mentioning ninjas? Izumo asked. Where's the other squad? Kotetsu asked. They're all dead by those creatures. You have to take us to the Hokage at once. The female ninja said. Kotetsu saw some unusually burn marks on their arms. Some on their bodies and legs like they were bubbling afterwards. You sure about that? Seeing you in a state like this? We need to get you two to the hospital. He turned around seeing a dead Anbu with a usually creature covering his face. What happened to him? What's that on his face? That thing came out of nowhere. It landed straight to his face. We tried to yank it out, but it was so tight. It uses its tail to tighten his neck. He was dead when we're coming back to the village. The commander said. Suddenly, a messenger bird flew down from the sky. Izumo saw it as the bird landed on its arm. He grabbed the letter before the bird flew away. He was reading it for a couple of seconds. The Hokage just sent us this. We need to be at the hospital at once. Something bad has happened. Izumo said. What? Are you serious? Kotetsu asked. The Hokage is not joking. The other teams are gonna be there as well. Since we're going, we'll take them with us. They can talk to the Hokage what happened. Izumo said. Both Izumo and Kotetsu helped both the commander and female ninja, while Izumo grabbed the body from the ground and teleported to the hospital. Back at the village, Naruto was sound asleep and snoring loudly as usually. Hugging his pillow as a teddy bear and drooling at the same time. However, his mind would transport him to the sewers where the Nine Tails is located. The noisy ninja eyes were open. Thinking he was in a dream, he stood in front of the cage as Kurama appears from the darkness. Hey, what's wrong? I was sleeping peacefully until you brought me here. He asked. We have other problems to worry about. I sense something very powerful and evil. Kurama said. Seriously? Naruto asked. I'm not joking. I could feel it. It's here in this village. But where? Kurama asked. Naruto was curious about what the Nine Tails was talking about. Suddenly, the same flute song was heard echoing throughout the sewers yet again. What is that noise? He asked, looking around. He turned around to see the Nine Tails growing with its razor-sharp teeth. He could see the anger in his face. Are you okay? What's wrong? He asked. I think I know where's that presence is located. The Nine Tails has his eyes closed for a couple of minutes. His eyes open in a flash. It's located at the hospital nearby. It appears it has that Hokage's assistant with it. Oh, no. That's Shizune you mean. The noisy ninja replied. Okay, I'm going to the hospital. Let me get out of this place to go rescue her. By the way, Naruto. You better be on your guard. This enemy is no human. It's not from this world. Kurama said. Not human? He asked. You'll find out soon enough. The Nine Tails replied. Oh, and one more thing. Why were you so angry about that flute playing? Naruto asked. I'll tell you later on. We're running out of time. Don't let the girl get killed. Hurry up. Kurama said. Naruto's eyes opened as he was back in his apartment. He heard someone banging on his door. Naruto, are you in there? He recognized that voice of Sakura. Jumping out from his bed, he ran to the door. Opening it to see both Sakura and Sai at the doorway. "Guys, we gotta head to the hospital at once," he said. Sakura and Sai were a little stunned about it. "Wow, that's a little funny. Because we're going to the same thing as well," the pink-haired Chunin replied. "Anyway, we got a message from the Hokage to come to the hospital at once. The other teams including Kakashi-sensei and Captain Yamato are already there. We came to get you to be there as well." "Well, there's no time. Let's get going." Naruto jumped from the edge of the apartment, hopping roof to roof. Sakura and Sai followed him to the location. How in the world did he knew about where we were going? Sakura thought but would wait later to talk to him about it. Back at the hospital, Shizune was about to enter death's door. She came face to face with the devil. The Xenomorph with its hand, choking her neck. Tenten was hiding underneath the table, scarred for its life. The creature slowly opens its mouth, revealing its other mouth. It was about to deliver a tongue strike on the girl. Shizune screamed for her life, trying to hope someone comes to her rescue. Death was about to come for her. Suddenly, an individual buzzed through the window. It caught the Xenomorph by surprise as it turns around. Some pieces of glass hit the creature's face, but had no effect. It dropped Shizune to the floor as the Hokage's assistant tries to breathe more from the strong grip. Dragging herself to a corner as Tenten rushed over to her. Shizune regains her composure. Looking back to see none other than Jiraiya in Sage mode with both Fukasaku and Gamakichi on his shoulders. Face to face with the Xenomorph. "Jiraiya, cough, you came, cough, thank God," she said, coughing at the same time. The pervy sage saw blood everywhere including the three bodies. He was sick to his stomach seeing the gruesome sight. But regained his composure to stare at the creature in front of him. "So this is the creature you guys saw at the ship?" he asked to the two great sage toads. "Yes. This thing is deadly," Fukasaku explained. "It has to be one of the things that stand not like the others that walk with hands and legs. But this one can fight like any other shinobis. Just be careful, little Jiraiya. It can use its tail as a weapon to kill its target quickly. Plus, if you try to kill it, you better move quickly because its blood is acidic." "That's fine. I'll end this one quickly," the pervy sage replied. The Xenomorph roared at his targets. Looking back to Shizune, it quickly jumped back inside the vent, exiting from the room. The others were shocked by this. Not even want to put up a fight with them. Question is, why would it run away from Jiraiya all of a sudden? However, it had to be eliminated quickly before it escapes from the hospital and maybe into the village to find more victims. It just ran off all of a sudden. Why would it do that? Shima asked. "That's a good question I want to know as well." Jiraiya said as turns off sage mode, back to his original face. The two toads jumped off from his shoulders, examining the bodies on the floor that fell victim to the Xenomorph. The pervy sage kneeled down to Shizune to see if she was okay. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine. Thank you for coming to rescue me," she replied, finally breathing. "How did you know that thing was here?" "It's a long story. Both Fukasaku and Shima can fill you and Tsunade in on that situation. Right now, this thing is somewhere in the hospital and it may strike again anytime soon," Jiraiya said. "What was that thing?" Shizune asked. However, she noticed that the pervy sage has his hands on her right hand. Lifting up in front of them, Jiraiya has that handsome look on his face, making Shizune blushed. "Since I rescue you, how about you give me a nice reward?" he said, planting a kiss on her hand. Making her face blushed more. Suddenly, a fist came crashing down his head. The pervy sage screamed in pain, feeling the bump forming on his head. He looked up to see none other than Tsunade, looking at him with a tick on her head, forming in anger. "Oh, it's you, Tsunade," he replied. "Idiot. Do you have the time to flirt with my assistant at a time like this? Even worse, you did it where there's bodies in this room. Have you no shame, pervert?" she yelled in rage. Maybe. That was his only excuse with a funny smile. Tsunade shook her head. Letting out a sigh as she helped Shizune on her feet. "Are you okay?" she asked. "I'm fine. But this guy ain't," she said, looking at Tenten in her arms. The pig was scared as hell. "Poor guy. What on earth did the two of you saw? And what could have killed these people?" Tsunade said, while petting Tenten and referring to the bodies at the same time. "Maybe I can explain," Fukasaku said as a shinobi appeared from the entrance. "Milady, the teams has arrived. They're at the entrance. Plus, the other Anbu squad you sent out is back. However, there is bad news about that," he said. Intelligence Division Building. At the building, both Ibiki Marino, head of the torture and interrogation force, and Inoichi Yamanaka, head of the Bepasis team and Ino's father, were heading to one of the cells that had one of the Moya Triad brothers inside. They were gonna use him for interrogation and questions about what they encounter. "I wonder what was going on at the hospital. They said it was evacuated for some reason," Inoichi asked. "I'm not sure. But I did hear that Anko was ordered to be there as well. I know your daughter is there as well along with her squad," Ibiki said. Always have trust in my little princess's heart. She's growing up to be quite a good ninja. Inoichi said. The two arrived at the entrance to the cells. Ibiki slid the key inside. Unlocking it, the door opens as they enter. They walk past other cells to the final cell where the brother was being holed up. They see the brother sitting behind the corner of the wall. Ibiki opened the cell door. All right, stand up and come with us immediately. He said where there was no answer. Hey, are you listening to me? Ibiki walk up towards the brother where in horror, the body drops to the floor. Ibiki and Itachi were stunned where they saw it had its throat slit. Puddle of blood on the floor above where the body was leaning on the wall. There was more blood on the wall as well. What in God's name just happened? Inoichi asked. How in the world he died? No way that any intruder never entered the building when it secured. Ibiki said. We must warn the Hokage. Plus, have everyone in this building questioned on the matter. Inoichi said. Back at the Root HQ, Danzo sat in his seat with his eyes closed until one of his bodyguards appeared in front of him, bound to him. Wearing a white cloak and mask. The darkness of the shinobi ordered him to take his mask off as he did. A young man with auburn-colored hair and amber eyes of a killer. Lord Danzo, the assassination has been complete. The target has been killed. Yamanaka said. Good. That will keep the Hokage and the others in the dark for the time being. The Root leader said. Also, I'm hearing from our spies that the other two brothers are dead from the hospital. Yes, my lord. It appears the life form has awakened from its slumber. It's currently lurking in the hospital. But the Hokage has already sent its teams to try to eliminate it. Many of the civilians evacuated from the building. But it will be a matter of time before it tries to escape from the building and into the city. Fu explained. I see. Danzo said, placing his hand on his chin, thinking of something until another one of his bodyguard appeared next to Fu. Lord Danzo, Torunoburami said. The Anbu squad that was sent to search for the convoy were decimated. However, the Anbu commander and the other two members survived and are back in the village. They are wounded, but the hospital is already evacuated. Your orders, sir? Hold off for the time being, let the mysterious creature do its bidding. I like to see how this is gonna play out. He said. As of right now, everything is going to according to plan. As soon as I get rid of the Titch, I'll be once the Hokage. Suddenly, a scroll appeared in front of Danzo as he grabbed it and untied it, reading it for a couple of minutes. He placed the scroll in his pocket before getting up from his seat. Excuse me, gentlemen. But it appears a meeting is about to take place. He said, walking off as his bodyguards followed suit. Back at the hospital, Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Shizune were joined by the teams at the entrance, which was the safest place for the time being. Team 8, led by Kurana Yuhi, with Hinata Hyuga, Kiba Inuzuka and his dog Akamaru, and Shino Aburami. Team 10, led by Asuma Sarutobi, with Shikamaru Nara, Choji Akimichi, and Ino Yamanaka. Team Guy also arrived on the scene. And finally, Team 7, led by Captain Yamato, with Naruto Uzumaki, Sakura Haruno, Sai. Kakashi is still basically the leader since the academy years. The Hokage briefed the teams as they were stunned at what they were hearing. I'm telling you right now. This enemy we're not dealing with is no human. It already had killed 3 people here. You people don't want to know what it did to them. Never in my life see what this enemy did. Tsunade said, referring to the Xenomorph. You mean this thing is a creature? Not a ninja? Sakura asked. Shizune encountered one of them. Tsunade said, seeing her assistant shaking a little. She could sense a chill in her spine. Even Tenten was still freaking out about it. But the good news is that Jiraiya showed up on time to save her. From then, the creature escaped to one of the vents. I was kinda of surprise it would escape to not fight me. I'm not sure why. Both Fukasaku and Shima are currently looking around for it in the vents. The pervy sage said. This is an S-rank mission. Your job is to eliminate the target by any means necessary. We can't take a chance to let it escape from the building and into the village. It will do whatever it takes to kill more people. Tsunade said. Suddenly, the group heard a whimpering sound. Turning around to see Akamaru, hiding underneath a table. Scarred for his life. Much like Tenten was. Akamaru, are you okay? What's wrong, boy? Kiba asked, walking over to his dog. He's afraid of something. Isn't it that creature Lady Hokage explained to us? Tenten asked. But we haven't encountered the creature. Ino asked. Just like he was afraid of Gaara during the Chunin exams. Poor guy. Hinata said. Well, we can't just stand here all day. We gotta find it quick before it escapes to the village. Naruto said. He's right. We gotta find it right now. Sakura said. You guys go on ahead. I'll stay with Akamaru and try to calm him down. I'll catch with you guys later on. Kiba said, petting his dog. The rest of you have your duty. Carry them out. Tsunade said as the teams, except for Kiba and Akamaru, disappear in a puff of smoke throughout the hospital to search for the Xenomorph. We gotta go see how the Anbu commander is. I heard they just got back from their mission. Mission? Jiraiya asked. They were searching for a convoy that went missing. The Hokage explained. That convoy came from the Land of Water, carried by the former 4th Mizukage. I got a scroll from the current Mizukage that she'll be coming here to the village tomorrow. I haven't even settled up a meeting with all this crap going on. I'll just leave it at that on the Mizukage part. However, I send the Anbu squad to search for the convoy in the Land of Fire. I wonder if they found it already. This is the first time I heard a mission about the convoy. Plus the Mizukage coming to the village. I wish she should have scheduled her visit for another time with all this going on. Jiraiya said. Suddenly, a puff of smoke appeared out of nowhere. A woman with light brown pupilless eyes. Her hair color is violet, styled in a short, spiky, fan ponytail. Dressed in a fitted mesh bodysuit that covers her neck down to her thighs. A trench coat with an orange miniskirt. Lady Hokage. Urgent news to report. Anko Midarashi said. One of brothers that we brought to the intelligence building is dead in his cell. What? Tsunade asked, rage of anger boiling in her. Both Inoichi and Ibiki arrived at his cell and found his body leaning on the wall. They don't how he killed himself. We checked him in case if he has any weapons. He didn't. Nobody didn't penetrate the building. It's a mystery how he was killed or killed himself. Anko said. Brothers? What brothers are you talking about? Jiraiya asked. I'll tell you on this matter later. Right now, it's the matter that this thing must be executed before it escape to the village and find more humans. Tsunade said. On the second floor, Team 10 were walking across the hallways. It was quiet and the lights were still on. Asuma looks around the hallway. The silence was deafening. Shikamaru, Ino, and Choji followed their leader, turning their eyes to find the Xenomorph. For seconds they were walking until their squad leader stopped. Still has his cigarette in his mouth, he turned to his right, opening of the rooms. Sensei. Are you okay? Shikamaru asked. SHH. I think I sense something inside this room. He replied. The team looks around at the room. It was clean. The beds were okay and not use. Pretty much many of the people evacuated or never used this room. Suddenly, Asuma sensed something dripping. He turned around to see one of the vent dripping something. Walking over, the others followed suit. The cigarette Jonin blew a puff of smoke from his mouth before dropping the cigarette down on the ground and stepping on it. He placed a hand below the open vent. He felt the drip on his hand. Looking at it. It was blood. The others saw what it was and they were stunned, especially Ino. Is that blood? She asked. You don't think it's in the vents? Choji asked. That's what we're about to find out. Get ready for it to appear. Asuma said, placing his charka blades on his knuckles, ready for any attack. This is gonna be a drag. Shikamaru said. The squad got into defense stance. Looking above the opening vent. More blood dripped from small size to medium size, hitting the floor. They could hear banging sounds from the vents. It was getting closer. Suddenly, an object dropped to the floor in front of them. It was a body of a male patient. Half of its body all cut up and mutated. Seeing its insides made Ino covered her mouth. Choji about to vomit. Shikamaru sweating with nervous in him. Asuma eyes were wide. Never in his life seen this before. What the tuck is what we're dealing with? Choji asked, his eyes widened. They heard pounding once again and a roar from the vents. It was moving away from their location. Pull yourself together. We can't let it get away from us. We have to follow it. Asuma said as the team exit from the room and follow its track. Shikamaru looked back for a second at the corpse. This is a tucking drag. He thought before following the team. At another part of the hospital, Squad 7 were entering the hallway of where the Xenomorph was first encountered. The group saw bloody footprints that were coming from where the chestburster was born. Kakashi and Yamato led the way. They turned to the counter and saw the bodies of Maitate and the female nurse. Mutated and blood everywhere. Both Kakashi and Yamato look away, not want to see the sick scene in front of them. Sakura covered her mouth. Her green orbs were wide and tears coming out, decided to look back. Sai only looked at the bodies with no emotions in him. Either sad or anything, nothing. Naruto can only look down to see. He doesn't know that the 9 tails within him sees the gruesome sight. Kurama's anger was boiling in him. For a couple of minutes of seeing, Squad 7 moves into the room. There were a ton of blood on the floor and pieces of glass they were stepping on. They approached towards the body of Yaz. They got a glimpse of one of the brothers. They saw a medium size on his chest. The others except Sai were more disgusted at the sighting. Kakashi and Yamato looked closer to the hole. What in God's name happened to him? Yamato asked. I'm not sure. The copy ninja said, looking at the hole on his body. Looks like something came through its body by creating a hole. What is it we're dealing with? These poor people. Sakura said. Who on earth would do such a thing? Whatever, Shizune saw. It killed these people in a brutal way. Kakashi said. Suddenly, they heard a banging sound coming from the hallways. The group did run because they would slip on the blood. They exit from the room, looking around the hallway. The banging sound was heard again where they turned to their left. One of the vent's doors popped down to the floor. The squad got into defensive stance, ready for anything to appear. Then, the black figure slowly exits from the vent by dropping to the floor. Rising up, the creature's head turns around, seeing the squad. The others were stunned at its appearance. Oh my god, Sakura said, her body feels afraid and frightened. Kakashi, Yamato, and Naruto eyes were wide seeing the Xenomorph looking at them. It roared, sliding its barbed tails. Sai could only look at it. Not shocked nor impressed by the appearance of the creature. Buckle up, everyone. This is gonna be a serious fight. Kakashi said. The Xenomorph charged towards the squad with a rapid speed run. It lunges towards them to attack. Only to be trapped. 4-pillar prison jutsu. Yamato converts his charka popped out from underneath. The timber surrounds the creatures. Forming a prison cube, trapping the Xenomorph from attacking. Just like that, problem solved. That was quick. All we need to do is to examining this thing. Yamato grinned. However, that grin was quickly wiped away in a stunning turn of events. The Xenomorph roared as he uses his barbed tail by swinging it, cutting through the entire prison wood with one strike. The cube prison was destroyed easily. Everyone was stunned. No way, how did he do that? Yamato asked in a shocking face he was making. I'll take it on. Naruto jumped in to take on the Xenomorph. Wait, Naruto. Don't attack it. Kurama roared as Naruto flashed back to the sewers, standing in front of the gates where the Nine Tails was in front of him. What are you talking about? You saw what did to those people. The noisy ninja replied. I know. But there's reasons why. The Nine Tails explained. Take a good look at what the creature's doing to you. Naruto snapped back to reality where the Xenomorph stood in front of him. The others were about to save the noisy ninja. But came the shocking part of them all. The creature moves its head forward, nuzzing on the left side of its head like a dog or cat petting its own owner. Purring and all, not one single attack on Naruto. The others were stunned, even Naruto was shocked. The creature can attack other humans but doesn't attack him. The question is why the creature won't attack him. I don't believe. Sakura spoke in a shocked tone. The creature's not attacking Naruto. What's going on here? I'm not sure. But in surprise that it won't attack Naruto, but it can attack us. Sai said. Naruto was surprised but snapped back to reality. The creature moved its head away from him. The two stared at one another again. The noisy ninja gulped at the sighting. He could feel the stickiness from the creature's head on his left cheek. He decided to take it to next level. Slowly, he moved his hand forward to touch the creature. Naruto, you sure you want to touch that? Kakashi asked, getting his Chidori ready for an attack. Don't do anything, stupid. It can attack you at any time. Sakura warning him. Inches closer to touching the creature, Naruto placed his hand on its curved head. He could feel the stickiness and how smooth the skin was. The others were more stunned at what they were seeing. The Xenomorph let out a soft purr, feeling the hand of a human, comforting it. How in the world, Naruto did that? It's like it's something inside him controlling this creature. Yamato thought. While that was happening, Sakura turned around to see Sai drawing the sketch of both Naruto and the Xenomorph on his scroll. The pink-haired Chunin threw a fist on top of Sai's head. Idiot. There's no time of drawing art. She scrolled at him. Of course for Sai, he didn't feel any feelings or anything as usually. Meanwhile, Team Guy was in another part of the hospital. The group continued their way to the hallway. Looking around, searching for the creature. Might Guy led the way. While walking, he heard a sound of tiny bits of glass broke. He looked down to see pieces of glass on the floor he stepped on. Curious, him and the team turned to their right, seeing the doors destroyed by something. They walk into the room to see a body in a pool of blood. Tenten closed her mouth in shocked. Rock Lee looked away, seeing gruesome sight. Niji, with no sight of disgust in him, kept his composure perfectly, looking at the body. I kneeled down to look at the body. Its face was entirely gone by one strike. He couldn't tell whether it was a male or female patient. Guys, look around and found out who this patient was. There should be a clipboard of the patient's name in front of the bed. He said as Tenten looked away, walking towards the bed. She grabbed the clipboard, looking at the name of the patient. Her eyes went wide. Sensei. This patient is one of the brothers we saw at the gates when we came back from our mission. She answered. What? Rock Lee and Guy said, except for Niji as she gave the information to her sensei. It seems whatever it got into him, it killed him. Tenten said. What is going on here? What are we dealing with? I'm not sure what it is. But it's here somewhere in the hospital. We gotta find it before it's too late. Might Guy said, before turning to the body. We'll let the others clean up this mess right after we're done. Come on, let's keep searching. The others exit the room to continue their search for the Xenomorph. But seeing the gruesome corpse was gonna haunt their minds. Meanwhile, Team 7 were still in shock at what they were seeing with Naruto as the noisy ninja let his hand off of the creature's head. Sakura was walking towards Naruto only for the Xenomorph to grow at the pink-haired Chunin. It caused her to walk backwards away from the creature. The Nine Tails snickered at the scene after all the past events that Sakura hit Naruto many times. So it doesn't like other people coming towards other than Naruto. Interesting. Sai said. Naruto, do you know anything about this? Kakashi asked. I'm not sure. He replied. But I think the Nine Tails inside of me told me not to attack this thing. I'm not sure why but now I think I do. It's like this thing thinks I'm his master. Where did this come from? Have the Nine Tails told you about it? Yamato asked. I'm not sure. He replied as he looks back at the creature, staring at him. Suddenly, several bean vines grows from the ground, tying around the Xenomorph as the creature was fighting hard to get out from its trap. Team 7 was surprised by the ambush, but knew who it was. Then a bean pod grew in front of the creature as Kurenai appeared with a kunai in her hand, ready to strike on the creature. Kurenai-sensei. Naruto said. You guys okay? Don't worry, I'll deal with him. She replied. Kakashi noticed something. The vines forgot to tie on the creature's barbed tail. Kurenai. Watch out for the tail. The copy ninja yelled. The Squad 8 leader noticed the tail as it cut through all the vines and then was heading straight towards her. She teleported out from the bean pod as the tail cut through the pod at the last minute. She was joined with both Hinata and Shino, who appeared from the corner of the hallway. The Xenomorph escaped from the vines as it stood there with anger, ready to strike on Kurenai. So this is the creature. Hinata said, frightened at the sighting. I've never seen this kind of species before in our lives. Shino said, with a calm tone as usually. We have to kill this thing at once. Kurenai said as the team minus Kiba were ready for action. Hang on. Don't kill it. Naruto jumped in front of them. Naruto, are you that serious? This thing is deadly. It killed many people in this building. Kurenai said. I know but you don't understand. He answered back. The creature charged towards the team despite Naruto was blocking his way. Naruto, look out. Sakura yelled as he turns around, seeing the creature jump towards him to attack. He closed his eyes, waiting for the outcome until something happened. He opened his noticing the creature froze in front of him. He looked down to see a shadow stopping the creature from attacking him. Shadow possession jutsu complete. Squad 7 turned around to see it was Shikamaru using his jutsu to stop the Xenomorph's attack. Asuma, Ino, and Choji showed up as they saw the creature. That's the creature. I've never this one before. Ino said. It's so deadly. Choji said. Good work, Shikamaru. Now, you don't mind. I'll make sure to finish it off once and for all. Asuma said, having enough charka on his blade knuckles. Suddenly, the same fluke song was heard throughout the hospital. Everyone was looking around where it was coming from. At the same time, the Nine Tails was making him more angry at the familiar tune. The Xenomorph then jumped in the vent, escaping from the others. It got Asuma's attention quickly along with the others. That thing's getting away. He said as they can hear the banging sounds in the vent. Looks like it's going to the rooftops. Everyone, hurry, we gotta get to the roof. Kakashi said. What in the world was that flute song? Sakura asked. We'll worry about it later. We ain't got that much time. Kakashi replied as every squad hurries to a nearby staircase to the roof. On the rooftop, the Xenomorph exits from the vent. Looking around at the village, it sees the people including Kitsuyu on the ground near the entrance of the hospital. Suddenly, the door breaks open nearby as the squads arrived. The creature turned around seeing them in defense stance ready to attack. Hang on. Don't attack it. Naruto said, jumping in between the creatures and the others. Naruto, are you nuts or crazy? That thing just killed many people. Rock Lee said. I know, bushy brow. He replied. However, the Nine Tails just told me not to kill it. I'm not sure why but the shocking thing about it. It's not attacking me. If it can't attack you, then why is it still attacking us? Yamato asked. I'm not sure. Naruto said. Either way, this thing needs to be killed once and for all. Now, get out of our way. Asuma said. Sakura and Hinata were worrying for Naruto. Ino and Tenten in their minds were feeling the same thing. No doubt both the two had feeling and their chest burning for the Nine Tails user. However, defending a creature they never seen before was the most craziest thing ever for Naruto. But it was their mission they had to follow for the sake of the Hidden Leaf Village. Naruto gulped in his throat, ready for anything from the others to attack. He felt something on his right shoulder which shocked the others except for Squad 7. The Xenomorph lays its long head on the noisy ninja's shoulder. Nuzzling his neck and purring at the same time like a regular pet. Naruto pats it on the head once again. Hinata could only smile at the sight. I guess Naruto is right. It doesn't attack him. The Hyugaiers replied. The others only stared at the sight. However, Niji sensed something nearby. He used his Byakugan to his right. On one of the nearby tower, he saw a root member jumping from the tower, pulling out its sword, heading to the attack on both Naruto and the Xenomorph. Naruto. Look out. He yelled. The Xenomorph turned its head as it pushes Naruto out of his way. Only at the second, the root member slicing the creature's body in half. At the same time, acidic blood spray some on Naruto's arm, causing him to screech in pain. The others were stunned as they were running towards him. However, more root members blocked their approach. Naruto was pinned to the ground by more members. Target is down. Torin said, appearing. Torin? What on earth are you doing here? Shino asked. Hello there, Shino. It's been a while hasn't it? He asked. What's going on here? Why on earth did you do that? Kakashi asked. Relax, Kakashi. It's under control. Everyone turned around to the voice as they saw Danzo entering the roof. That voice made the copy ninja, Asuma, Might Guy, and Kurenai not happy to see. Danzo, I should have known it would you sending your people here to interfere in business you don't deserve to be in. Kakashi said. I should be thanking you, Kakashi. Along with the rest of the squad. Now if you don't mind, I have business to attend. The Dark Shinobi said, walking over to the dead Xenomorph before turning to Naruto, pinned to the ground by the other root members. Naruto Uzumaki. The son of the late 4th Hokage and the mother of Kushina Uzumaki. And of course, the user of the 9 tails that killed many of the villagers here in this village a while back. The others except for Kakashi, Asuma, Mighty Guy and Kurenai were stunned. Their captains had more anger in them after Danzo revealed the secret of the 9 tails attack on the Hidden Leaf village, the night when Naruto was born and both Minato and Kushina were killed. How do you know me? What exactly do you want? Naruto asked. You're here be under arrest. For controlling the Xenomorph on brutally killing both the brothers and the people here in the hospital. Danzo finished his saying. The others were completely stunned at what they were hearing. However, they all know it was blunt lie. But it didn't matter to Danzo. He had his own agenda. By becoming the next Hokage and getting rid of Naruto from this village once and for all. Meanwhile, back at the temple. David saw the event unfolded from his screen. Looks like Danzo has made his move already. Everything is going according to plan as we speak. He turned around seeing the Xenomorph King sitting in its throne with 2 biochambers side by side. On the right it shows Sakura with Asobu, sealed and unconscious. On the left, Yujito with Matatabi unconscious. Both were defeated at the hands of the Xenomorph King. Question is, what is David's plan for the other users and its tailed beasts? The morning sun was rising behind the cliff of rocks that has a village in a fortified valley. The hidden sand village of its buildings made up of clay or stucco, which would help keep the buildings cool because of the heat wave which the land of wind was full of desert. Meanwhile, inside the Kazekage residence, Gaara, who is the 5th Kazekage, woke up from his sleep. Ready for another day of work on his village to protect. Until, a knock was on his doorstep. Enter. He replied. Turned around to see 2 people entering the room. A man dressed in a black outfit consisting of a long top and trousers with a red sash around his waist and a hood on his head. He has his face painted with starting from one cheek to the lip and to the end of the other cheek and another line starting from the top of the upper lip to the bottom of the chin. It looks like it forms the letter T. The second person is a woman with sandy blonde hair of 4 consecutive pigtails. Dressed in a short-sleeved black kimono that reaches down her legs with slits along the side and a more revealing neckline. While she retains a red sash tied around her waist, she now sports a fingerless black glove and wears her forehead protector on her forehead with a logo of the Hidden Sand Village. Good morning, Kankuro and Temari. What brought the 2 of you here? Gaara asked. Sorry, but we just got a letter from a messenger bird from the Hidden Leaf Village. And it's very urgent from the Hokage. Kankuro said, giving the scroll to the Kazekage. Gaara untied the knot as he opens the letter to start reading it. Minutes into reading the letter, his eyes went wide. Lady Hokage just told us that Naruto was arrested last night. He said. What? Both Kankuro and Temari yelled at the same time. There was an incident at the hospital that involved an unknown creature. It killed 4 people. 2 of them were brothers that were wounded after being found by Team Guy's squad. Gaara explained. The 3rd brother was sent to the department for interrogation. Only to be found dead in his cell. They're ruling it as he committed suicide. Wait a second. What about Naruto? How did he got arrested? Temari asked. Before you jump to any conclusions, it wasn't the Hokage or any of the Anbu that ordered the arrest. This is not like he attacked the 4th Raikage, though he was falsely framed for it. You might heard a group called Root and their leader by the name of Danzo Shimura. The Kazekage. Yeah, I heard about that name before. He known as the darkness of the shinobi. I heard stories he only cares for power and money. He's willing to become the Hokage and rule to turn the Hidden Leaf Village as a military superpower war machine. He doesn't like the current Hokage. Hell, he never liked the third Hokage a while back. Kankuro explained. Plus I heard this group called Root is like an underground organization similar to the Anbu type. They carry out these top secret missions that the Hokage doesn't know about. So why did he along this group arrest Naruto? Temari asked, still staying on the subject of the noisy ninja. Gaara knew that his sister has feelings for Naruto. A while back it was him that got Gaara back to reuniting with Temari and Kankuro to the way of the family. She has deep feelings on him that never before. She does want to return a favor to him someday if they return to Konoha for another trip. Kankuro on the other hand couldn't trust Naruto to be around his sister. Of course he's overprotective of her. I'm not sure on the details. But the Hokage did tell that Naruto was already released from prison in her orders. However, she did told us that there will be an emergency Kage summit coming up in the coming days. Plus, I did heard that the Mizukage is on her way to the Hidden Leaf Village. She should be arriving today as planned. He explained. Emergency summit? Wonder where? Kankuro asked. The location of the summit will be announced in a later date. Gaara said. It may have something to do with that unknown creature that attacked the hospital last night. Unknown creature? What you talking about? Temari asked. I'm not sure what it is. But once we get there, the Hokage will explain everything what has happened. Gaara said. What? We're heading to the Hidden Leaf Village right now? Kankuro asked. Might as well. We'll call in the other squads before we make our way to the Hidden Leaf Village. Better make prep before we still can. Gaara said. To tell you the truth, I'm glad we're going because I think I need to chat with someone very special who I got my eye on. Kankuro said with that perverted grin on his face. Which made Temari very disgusted. Let me guess, it's the Hokage's assistant I believe. She finished. How you know? Kankuro asked. Because I guess. And she'll say no. Just watch. Temari said as Kankuro just mumbled which she could hear by smacking him on his head. Gaara looked back at the window, overseeing the village. Wonder what this creature is. He thought. Back in Konoha, the cleanup at the hospital continues as the building would be shut down for a couple of days after the incident with the Xenomorph. The Konoha military police force took over the investigation by orders of the Hokage. The cleanup was already started. Many of the medical nins were cleaning up the mess left behind. All the blood on the floor and wall were splashed by water. Bodies of the other two medical nins and the brothers were placed in body bags outside the hospital. Tents were being used for temporary hospital until the main building finally opens up. Civilians at the gate were watching the scene. Many police force ordered everyone to move along as nothing to see here. Meanwhile, inside the conference of the Hokage's office, a council meeting was being held. Tsunade sitting at the end of the table, not in a very good mood. Both Jiraiya and Shizune, with Tenten in her arms, were standing behind her just in case if she blows a big gasket, which she was about to. On the left side of her were Himura Midokado and Kaharu Utatane of the Konoha Council. Their leader was none other than Danzo, who was sitting at the end of the table, staring at the Hokage. On the right were the clan leaders of Inoichi, Shikaku Nara, leader of the Nara clan and Shikamaru's father. Choza Akimichi, leader of the Akimichi clan and Choji's father. Hiashi Hyuga, leader of the Hyuga clan and Hinata's father. Tsuman Yazuka, leader of the Inyazuka clan and Kiba's mother. And Shibi Aburami, leader of the Aburami clan and Shino's father. All were in attendance as they sensed the room was tension than ever. Everyone I call on this emergency meeting for what transpired at the hospital last night. We'll get to all that in a minute. However, there's some announcements I have to make before we begin. Tsunade explained. Because of the events that happened last night, I've learned there's a Kage summit to be held soon. Date will be announced in a later day, but likely the location of summit could be held here. Of course is still pending since the Mizukage is coming to the village. The Mizukage is coming to the village? Inoichi asked. Why didn't you tell us about it? A scroll from a messenger hawk came to my office. Good thing Shizune was there to hold on to it until she gave it me and read it. I didn't had time to told you about the Mizukage coming to the village today with all what happened last night. But there is a reason why she's coming. Tsunade explained. You remember the former 4th Mizukage Yagura Kurotsuchi. I learned from the Mizukage that he and his convoy were riding along the fire country. It lost communication for a couple weeks. I sent out an Anbu squad to search for the convoy. They found the convoy located in a wooded area miles from a nearby village. The rest of the Kiri bodyguards were murdered. The others except for Danzo and the elders were stunned. Anbu commander told me they were savaging murder by the same creature that was at the hospital. She replied. So that creature could be more out there? I wonder where are these coming from? Choza asked. Just ask both Fukasaku, Shima and Gamakichi. They encountered those a couple weeks ago when I was visiting them. They say these things were deadly and fast to attack. They never seen anything like it. But there's a human that's controlling them. Jiraiya said. His name is David. That what Fukasaku said. Who is this David then? Sum asked. No idea. That's pretty much all I can give you and the Hokage. The pervy sage said. He noticed that both Danzo and the Elder Council were silent as every. I'm surprised that they're not saying anything. Even though I'm keeping my anger cool on Danzo for what he did to Naruto last night. Damn that man. Continuing where I left off. Tsunade explained. The Anbu squad located the convoy. No survivors and the former Mizukage was missing. However, they were ambushed by the same creatures. 4 Anbu members were killed. The commander and 2 members returned last night to the village. They were wounded. One member said after they killed the creature, their blood splashed on her legs and arms, the blood was acidic, it was burning to her skin. The group except for Danzo and the elders were stunned of hearing more of the story. The 3rd member was brought back. But we put him in a room since the hospital is being shut down during the cleanup. One of the creature were spider type. The commander said it came out of nowhere and jumped on the face of the member. The man tried to pull it off his face, but it was so strong, it used its tail to tie it around his neck. I'm going to the room to see if I can pry that thing off its face after the meeting is done. Now we have spider creature types. Interesting. Shibi said, with his fingers on his chin. Of course he is fond with insects which the clan has as powers. It had just been a crazy day so far with all this going on. Tsunade said. We have more on this throughout the day. However, another incident occurred at the same time. As you might heard, 3 brothers arrived yesterday. They were wounded and couldn't tell what happened. We sent 2 to the hospital, but they were one of the many people that die. It was just a gruesome sight. But, one brother was sent to the interrogation building and was found dead in his cell. Inoichi, you and Ibiki were going to talk with him only to find his body. Yes, Lord Hokage. He replied. Ibiki and I were heading to the cell where the brother was located. The entrance of the cells were heavily guarded as usually. We found his body's throat slit. He had no weapon with him, and we questioned the guards if anyone came before us. They said nobody has ever came to see him. How in the world he would commit suicide? You said, Iriler, that the guards would always check others' weapons in the prisoner's clothes in case before you send him in the cell. Tsunade said. Absolutely. Inoichi said. This is bizarre. Tsunade said. Thank you for your information, Inoichi. Pretty much all of the information. She turned towards of where she faced Danzo, whose eyes was closed throughout this whole meeting. There is one information I can talk about. And it involves the elephant in the room. That's where you come in, Danzo. Everyone turned to the darkness of the shinobi as he opened his eyes to look at the Hokage. The 2 look face to face. Not liking the other. Outside the room, Kakashi, Asuma, Might Guy, Yamato, Anko, and Kurenai were sitting in chairs in the hallway. Just sitting and waiting for the meeting to end. Hopefully it would end sooner, not longer. Anko really don't like meetings end very longer. How long is this gonna last? I would just go to the dango shop and get me some dumplings. The snake Jonin said with a moping face. You really are used to dumplings, are you? One of these days you might become Choji. Asuma said, causing him, Might Guy, and Yamato to laugh. Anko jumped out from his seat, swung her kunai, slashing the cigarette in half. Yamato and Might Guy weren't laughing this time. The squad 10 leader looked at the snake Jonin's scary look. Do you care to say that again? I double dare you say it. She replied. Seriously, can you please calm down? I mean, Asuma was joking around. Of course Choji would eat all that food, it causing his wallet to be empty. Kurenai said. Maybe I need to borrow his wallet for dumpling. Anko said. Sorry, not getting a dime from me. Asuma said. While they were talking, Kakashi was in deep thought. His mind was still wondering about last night. Especially when Naruto comfort the Xenomorph and controlled by the 9 tails inside of the ninja. He want to know how he do that, but others that would get closer is the Xenomorph's threat. Plus, his mind was also on Danzo and Root who arrested Naruto after the creature was killed. You're alright, Kakashi. You've been silent since we got here. Might Guy said. Sorry, I just had a lot of things of my mind. The copy ninja said. Does it had to do about last night? Yamato asked. I still can't get how Naruto can control that creature. He said that the 9 tails ordered Naruto not to kill it. Kakashi explained. I wonder where the creature came from. I've never seen anything like it before. But the one thing that worried me was Danzo. What the hell was Root doing arresting Naruto for? I was thinking the same thing. Yamato said. There were no orders from the Hokage to bring in Root. Wonder why he would interfere in such a way. And then it gotten worse. Danzo was about to spill out the secrets of the 9 tails, the others including our team. That is a law that he should not say. Kakashi said. If he ever did that, this village would be in an uproar of riots. Might Guy said. Either way, as long as Naruto's okay. He's back home at his apartment. Thanks to the Hokage's orders of pardon him out of Root's jail system. I like to know what's going on inside that room. Maybe Danzo's getting lectured by Lady Tsunade. Kakashi said. Good riddance. Never liked the guy anyway for what he tried to do with the old man. Asuma said, referring to his father and the third Hokage. Suddenly, they heard footsteps coming their way. They look up to see the Konoha 11 minus both Naruto and Sai walking towards them. Guys, what are you doing here? The Hokage has ordered everyone to take the day off for the time being. Kurenai said. Is the Hokage here? Sakura asked. She's inside the meeting room as the usually Konoha council meeting. Of course your parents are there with her. Except for your parents, no offense. However, she can't be bothered at this time. But I can ask her what you want from her. Kakashi said. We need to talk to her in her office if that's alright with her. Ino said. What is it you want to talk with her about? Might Guy asked. The Konoha 11 were looking at one another. They all nod their heads in agreement as Sakura let out a sigh. We all want to know about the secrets of Naruto childhood with the 9 tails. Also on the village assault. She replied. We promise we're not gonna spill it out on anyone throughout the village. Their senseis were stunned by the information. You know it's law that you can't heard about this. Asuma said. We all know it is. We were just interested in what Danzo was referring to last night. Tenten said. The senseis looked at one another. We'll think about it. But I know the Hokage will not like this idea. You can ask her once the meeting is over. By the way, how is Naruto? Kakashi asked. He's doing fine. Kiba, Choji and I sent him back to his apartment for the day. He still can't understand what happened and why he got arrested by Root members. Shikamaru said. Do you guys know anything about what the Hokage's orders? No, it wasn't. Danzo is meeting with the Hokage right now. No telling what's going on at the moment. Yamato said. I see. Hinata said. I know you're worried for Naruto. But in the meantime, don't. There's a lot of things going on right now throughout the village. Just get some rest and wait. Kakashi said. The others agree to the idea. At the apartment building, Naruto was in the bathroom. Washing his face with water. Once he was done, he was still sore from the beatdown by Danzo and Root. Exiting from the bathroom, he walked over to his bed as lies there looking at the ceiling where the fan was spinning above him. Feeling the cold air from the summer heat. His mind was on the Xenomorph and how he was controlling it. And how in the world does the 9 tails knew about this mysterious creature? There was other thoughts that was making his head spin. He closed his eyes, decided to take a little nap after last night's event. At the same time, Naruto was back in his mindscape of the 9 tails area. He stood in front of the gate where the 9 tails was located. Are you okay, Naruto? It seems the incident last night still has you wondering about that creature, Kurama asked. I still couldn't believe that the creature didn't try to kill me. But it can go after the others. It's like it was protecting me from a threat. Naruto said. These creatures are not from this planet. They're from another part of the world that existed millions of years ago before humans came alive on this planet. Even the tailed beasts would understand we can communicate with these creatures. I believe because I'm inside your body and they know I'm more of a threat to them. That's why they didn't kill you. Kurama explained. I never thought of that. Naruto replied. Anyway, we better be prepared for what's to come. Because I sense a danger lurking throughout the world and this one is deadlier than any other enemies we faced. I never tell you about this, but a couple of days ago, I felt 2 tailed beasts has already fallen to this enemy. It's so stronger it can take on any tailed beasts that he wants. Kurama explained more. Why didn't you tell me about this? If you would have told me, I probably told this to Granny Tsunade. Naruto said. I was worried you weren't ready for the story I want to tell you about the ship that came to this planet with the creatures that are now walking on this planet. Trust me, I've seen what this enemy can do. It angers me more that I want to save it as possible as I can. Because this enemy doesn't want to conquer the world, it wants to destroy it by killing every human as possible with chaos and death. Then wants to create a new world where humans doesn't exist. I'm telling you, Naruto. Keep this to yourself until the time being. I believe when the time comes, we must prepare for what's to come. I understand. But promise me one thing, can you tell me what angered you when the flute song was playing throughout? Is there something in your past that bothers you the most? Naruto asked. I'll tell you the story about it at another time. But now, it's not the time to tell you about it. The 9 tails raised his fist as he and Naruto did a fist bump together and everything went white from there. Naruto's eyes opened as he was back in his room. He heard a knocking coming from his front door. Jumping from bed, he walked over to the door to see from the peephole. He could see both Konohamaru, Mogi, and Yuden of Team Abisu at the doorway. He opens the door to greet them. "Hey, guys. What are you doing here?" the noisy ninja asked. "We came over to see how you were doing," Konohamaru said as he and the others enters the apartment. "We heard what happened at the hospital last night. We tried to get some answers, but the police force got us kicked out of the scene." "Oh, that's right, you guys are with the Konoha Hero newspaper or whatever it is," Naruto said, shrugged his shoulders. "Anyway, I can't tell you all the information from last night. Lady Hokage has ordered all of the Konoha 11, myself, and senseis to keep quiet on the information. Classified materials which should not be talked about to anyone in the village. Not even the Konoha daily newspaper. People will go crazy in the village about it." "Ah, come on, Naruto. Please tell us," Mogi said, using puppy eyes as feelings for bait. "No means no. Now if you don't mind, I need to get going," Naruto said, getting back in his usually clothes and walking past the young genins. "Where you going?" Yuden asked. "What else do you think I'm going? And if you're gonna try to follow me and try to get me the information, no thank you," Naruto replied, walking down the stairs to the village. "What are we gonna do?" Mogi said. "Well, that sad puppy face didn't work as usually. Because he doesn't fall for the same thing like the previous time," Konohamaru said. "But I'm not gonna give up on it just yet. Come on, let's follow him." The young genins left the apartment to follow Naruto. But what they didn't know is that someone was watching them from the rooftop. A root member was following Naruto everywhere he would go. Despite the order of Hokage of pardon the noisy ninja, Danzo didn't care of Tsunade's orders because he's above the law and does whatever he wants. He ordered one of his members to spy on Naruto as his next plan was coming together. Something the Hokage hasn't thought of yet. Meanwhile, at the gates, Kitetsu and Izumo were at the usually position by guarding the gate. They've heard news of the Zoya Triad's deaths. Plus, just like Naruto, they were ordered by Tsunade to keep the hospital incident quiet for the time being. They were waiting on the Mizukage's arrival to the village today. It has been a very busy 24 hours since the incident. Man, I can't believe the brothers we saw at the gate yesterday have all died last night. Even weirder, the third brother where he was being held up at the intelligence division building was mysterious killed in his cell. They're ruling it as a suicide," Kitetsu said. "How in the world did that happen? Usually Ibiki would have guards guarding the entrance to the cell a lot of times. Plus, they would check if that prisoner has any weapons with him," Izumo said. "I'm not so sure. They know how he was dead despite he didn't had a weapon with him. I'm telling you it's been strange things in the last 24 hours and that happened at the same time the incident at the hospital was happening," Kitetsu replied. "Really? I didn't know that," Izumo said. "I still want to know what the creature looked like. I heard it kill one of medical nins. Including Mitail. He was one of the dead. Kusushi was one of the people that saw his friend died by the hands of the creature. He's still scarred for his life by it. I heard rumors he's been having nightmares throughout and he was taken to a mental institution for the time being. Never seen him freaked out in his life before," Kitetsu explained. "Damn, that guy has be freak out at what he saw. At least he's still alive, that's a relief," Izumo said before changing to another subject. "Hey, I was wondering whatever happened to that Anbu member when the Anbu squad returned back to the village. And I wonder what was that object covering his mask and face. I heard the Hokage is gonna find a way to remove it. I'm not what it is either, but she told us this is confidential. So a lot of things cannot be in the open to the villagers or it's gonna be mayhem," Kitetsu said. The two continues their conversation when they sense a powerful charka coming towards the village gates. They turn to the entrance to see a woman in blue dress with a Mizukage's hat covering herself from the hot sun. Among her were 6 shinobis. The 4 were similar to the Anbu with mask. The other 2 were her bodyguards. One with short tufty blue hair and dark eyes. He also has pointed shark-like teeth. He wears square black rimmed glasses connected to ear protectors, a blue pin-striped shirt and camouflage patterned pants. "Wait a minute. Is that the Mizukage?" Izumo asked. "Could be." Kitetsu said as he and Izumo walk up to the group. "Excuse me, we just want to make sure who you are. I believe you're the Mizukage, am I right?" She took her hat off to reveal herself. The beautiful Mei Terumi show her long red auburn hair and her sparkle green orbs. The two guys were blushing heavily seeing how beautiful Mizukage. "Yes, I am. It's an honor to be here. I was wondering if the Hokage is here at this moment," she asked. Sure. Why don't I escort you to her?" Izumo said, only for Kitetsu to throw him to the right side of the gate. "Sorry, if you don't mind I'll be escorting you to her," he replied once Izumo answered back with a punch, sending him flying. Both guys were fighting for a chance to escort the Mizukage. Mei could only smile and laugh at the same time. Chijoro could only rub his head on his back, sweat drop. Ao was shaking his head in annoyance. This is such a waste of time. These idiots are gonna get us lost in finding her. He said. Suddenly, a puff of smoke appears as both Izumo and Kitetsu stop their fighting. The Anbu commander appeared, bowing to the Mizukage. Sorry for the disturbance. But the Hokage is currently in a meeting with the village council. Can escort you there to her office. She'll be meeting you there once her meeting is over. He said. Thank you so much. Mei said, before turning back to both Kitetsu and Izumo. Thanks you too. I know my appearance make you want to fight for me. It's okay. She then blew a kiss to the two before she and the others follows the Anbu commander through the village. The two were blushing more. I think she blew a kiss towards me. Kitetsu replied as Izumo responded with a punch to his head. She was blowing a kiss towards me, idiot. He replied as the two once again went at it. Meanwhile, back in the hallway of the meeting room, the Konoha 11 with their senseis minus Anko, who left for the usually dumpling shop because she was bored, spend minutes of waiting from the Hokage to come out from the room. It was indeed boredom and all for them. Suddenly, the doors opened as the others stood up. They saw Danzo exiting the room first. The root leader just walked past them with his eyes closed. The senseis stood their ground, giving looks towards him. Then it was the Konoha elders walking second, passing them. I wonder how that meeting with Kakashi asked. No idea. I'm surprised that Danzo didn't had a chance to greet both Yamato and you. Might Guy said. Like I care if he misses me. Thank God I'm not part of his squad no more. The wood user replied. Shikamaru, what are you doing here? Shikaku asked as the others turned around to see their parents exiting from the room. Oh, hey dad. We're just here to talk with the Hokage. He asked as Tsunade appeared from the room. What are y'all doing here? I gave you guys a day off for the day. She replied. Sorry to bother you, Lady Hokage. But there's something we would ask you if that's alright. Sakura asked. What is it? She asked. We wonder if you can tell us about Naruto. Sakura couldn't finish her answer when the Anbu commander appeared out of nowhere, bowing to the Hokage. Sorry for the interruption, but the Mizukage has arrived and she's waiting for you in your office as we speak. He replied. Thank you for the information. I'm about to head there right now. Please tell her so. Tsunade said. I will. The commander replied as he disappeared in a puff of smoke. Sorry, Sakura, but your conversation will have to wait another day. Tsunade explained. I'm really on a tight schedule at the moment. She turned to the clan leaders. Thank you for coming to the meeting at this moment. Shizune and Jiraiya. Let's go. Senseis, come with me as well. I need to talk to you something very important. Tsunade and the others left for the office. Kakashi stayed behind for a little while with the others. Sorry about that. She's been very busy with a lot of things right now. Hopefully, you'll get a chance to talk with the Hokage another time. I gotta catch up with them before she'll have my head on a plate. Kakashi sensei, is the Mizukage here? From the land of mist. What on earth is she doing here? We weren't informed by this. Sakura asked. I know she'll apologize to you. Don't worry, she'll probably inform you guys on that front soon. By the way, because of the Mizukage's arrival, there could be a Kage summit in the coming weeks. Better be prepared for that. The copy ninja said as he left to join the others, leaving them with their parents. The Konoha 11 were surprised by the information they were getting, but more were to come in the coming days. However, the only thing they want to know was Naruto's childhood past. They weren't gonna give up on it as they were hoping to talk with the Hokage very soon. By the way, Ino. Were you supposed to be at the flower shop even though you're on your day off? Inoichi asked. Sorry, daddy. But my friends came by and begged me to come with them. Ino said, smiling. My daughter can really be stubborn. Inoichi replied, shaking his head. Father, what was going on in the room with the Hokage? Hinata asked her father. Nothing that much. It's all been what happened in the hospital last night. She already told us about the Mizukage's arrival today. Also about the Kage summit. That pretty much all that we know for the time being. Hisashi said. What about that guy who walked out of there first? I was wondering who that guy was. Choji asked, opening a bag of chips and usually eating. That was Danzo. He's the founder of Root and he's known as the darkness of the shinobi. Choza explained. I can tell you one thing, the Hokage was not happy about him. Even worse, she grilled the Konoha council as well. Which we'll just leave it right there for the time being. So what happens now? Kiba asked, where his mother slapped him on the back. I'm not so sure. But I'm planning to get back home and rest as usually. Tsum said. By the way, what happened to Akamaru last night? When you guys were at the hospital, I heard that he was hiding underneath a table, scared for his life. That's not the Akamaru I know because he's always with you during combat. That's what I was thinking, the same thing. Kiba said. We were in the main hallway where the Hokage was giving us the briefing. Throughout that time, Akamaru was hiding in the table, scarred for his life. He probably sent something really dangerous in the hospital at the time. I just told both Kurenai-sensei along with Shino and Hinata just go along with the others. I stayed with Akamaru throughout. Then today, he's not even scarred. That's the weirdest thing I ever seen. Well, hopefully that's the last time for sure. You need to get your partner together. Otherwise, you could be in grave danger of losing a battle. Tsum said. Well, it won't happen again. Kiba replied. Anyway, we love to stay in chant, we gotta get back to work. We'll see you at home later tonight. Shikaku said as the clan elders walk away from their children. So what are we gonna do? Ino asked. I'm not sure. But we still have to find out more about Naruto's childhood past. We're not gonna give up until we find out. Sakura said with determination. On top of Hokage Rock, Naruto continues on the trail with his eyes closed and hands behind his back. He knows he sensed both Konohamaru, Mogi and Yuden following him, which he told him not to. I know you guys are behind me. And if you think those tricks like trying to use box with fake square rocks would help, think again. He replied, not looking back, but he could sense them. You know we're gonna keep following you, boss. Until you give us the information, we're not gonna walk away. Konohamaru replied. You really are stubborn, aren't you? I should just throw you off the rock. Naruto jokingly, with a fox grin. And everyone will come after you saying you killed the late third Hokage's grandson. He replied. So you're really gonna tell what happened? Mogi asked. The noisy ninja looked up in the sky before rolling his eyes. He let out a sigh, turning to the young genins. Alright, fine. But I'm just gonna tell you this one time and you better keep it to yourselves. You better not let this out in the village or the Hokage is gonna have my head on a plate. She already got on you, Konohamaru, and me for destroying her face on this rock. Trust me, I don't want to feel her wrath again. So promise me, you're not gonna tell no one. Naruto said. We promise. We're not gonna tell no one. They all said. As Naruto was about to explain the situation, 5 men were walking past them. However, one of them pushed Naruto to the ground real hard. Almost at the edge of Hokage Rock. The young genins were surprised by the whole thing. They turned to see a person, with disgust face, looking at the noisy ninja. Naruto got back up, only to be pushed by another person from the same group back to the ground. Konohamaru had enough of it. Hey, what's your problem? That messed up. Either you apologize to him right now or else. He said in a threatened way. Why should I apologize to that demon? A person that is a threat to this village. The thug replied. A demon? He's not a demon. He's gonna be the next Hokage soon. So some respect for once. Konohamaru yelled as the others laughed. Both Mogi and Yuden were scared of what's happening. What are you trying to do? Protect this demon. You better walk away or else, boy. Another thug replied as the group were ready to take on the kid. What are you talking about him being a demon? Konohamaru asked. You haven't heard. One of the group pulled out the Konoha daily newspaper. Naruto and the others look up at the headline on the paper. It reads Demon Hospital Killer. The photo shows Naruto petting the Xenomorph at the time before it's dead. The noisy ninja was stunned at what he saw. Even the young genin saw it and were stunned. That demon used some type of powers to control that monster and killed many in the hospital. He's back to his old ways. That's not true. Naruto would never do such a thing. Konohamaru said, trying to defend his friend. You better believe it. Now if you don't mind, better get out of our way. Because we're about to end this demon for it. We got to get that bounty money that was sent out. One of them replied as the 5 men pulled out their kunes, ready to attack Naruto. Eyes, get out of here. Warn the Hokage about this. The noisy ninja replied as the young genins ran off from the scene. Naruto turned towards the group. Like I said, I've never killed no one at that hospital. It's been a setup. I'm being framed by someone else trying to make me look bad. I've never in my life did anything wrong. Yeah, right. Just like the 9 tails that's inside you that almost destroyed this village. We make sure you never again walk on this planet. One of them said as they smirk. It was his childhood past all over again for Naruto. Being treated like the demon he was throughout. Now they were gonna kill him, of course he has enough strength to take them on, but in his mind, it breaks his heart that despite all he's done for this village, they never gave him the respect he gave them. Konoha Daily Headquarters. The Konoha Daily was home to its newspapers for everyone to read to get their news on important events that has been going on throughout the village and other parts of the world. However, it's also known for selling its fake news of propaganda stuff against Naruto and the Hokage to control every narrative. The editor in charge of the newspaper was a close friend to Danzo. He loves his job. It's all about money and power. Corruption runs deep everywhere when Tsunade is the Hokage. Is all the newspapers of today's headlines already ready? He asked one of his co-workers. Thousands of our newspapers has been sent to every newspaper stands around the village. He replied. Good. Seems Danzo would be very pleased with the next plan in store. The editor-in-chief said with a smirk. Meanwhile, back at the Root HQ, Danzo sat in his seat after returning from his meeting with the Hokage. Though he didn't like the tone that was coming towards him from Tsunade. But, in his own fantasy world, it was all about him. Just then, Fuyamanaka appears in front of the Root leader with a scroll. Lord Danzo, scroll from the editor at the Konoha Daily. He said, giving the scroll to Danzo. The Root leader read it for a couple of seconds as he smiled with his eyes closed. So that begins the whole propaganda throughout the village. Good. Tell him he'll be getting his paycheck real soon. Make sure the village will definitely turn against that spoil punk even though there is no proof. No wonder this village is such full of stupid people. He said. Also, we also learn from our spies that the Mizukage has arrived as well. She's currently meeting with the Hokage as we speak. Fu said. Has to be that Kage summit that's coming up soon. Plus, that phase of the plan has now been completed thanks to the fake scroll we sent for the time being. Have we sent the other scrolls to anyone else so far? He asked. We send a scroll to the Kazekage and we're about to send one to the Raikage in a couple of minutes. Fu said. Very good. It seems everything's according to plan. I let the whole thing go on with the village up against Naruto. Plus, it will be a matter of time once we reveal the village to real secret of his childhood past. He replied. You sure about that, Lord Danzo? That's really against the law for that to happen? Fu asked. I could care less about it. Only thing I care for is power. This is a soft coup that's going on right now. The next big plan is coming in a matter of time. Once we get rid of the Nine Tails user, we get rid of the Hokage once and for all, and I'll be sworn in as the next Hokage, with the help of David that is. He replied. Outskirts of the village near Mount Katsuragi, 4 people were walking along the dirt road leading to the village. Leading the pack is a tall thin young man with pale golden eyes and brown hair that reaches to his shoulders. His side parting let a large portion of his bangs cover the left side of his face. He wore a long, light blue kimono adorned with a small emblem of 3 bubbles on the back and a pair of grey pants underneath, with an orange sash. The kimono hung loose, exposing his chest. In it, he carried a bamboo jug filled with a soap solution and a pipe. With him is a girl with fair skin, dark green eyes, and long wavy blonde hair with widow's peak, reaching her back. She wears a violet-colored kimono top with white trimmings tied by a black obi, black shorts with a shuriken holster underneath a slit black skirt with red trimmings, violet arm warmers and black shinobi boots. The other 2 men were from the land of water just like him. Though he is a missing nin. One man is large muscular man. He has a short red spiky hair and a beard that covers his face. In terms of attire, he wore a green jacket with the sleeves torn off over a yellow shirt, along with a pair of pants, sandals, and arm guards. He also wore a forehead protector with a backwards Konohagakure symbol on it. The second man has a short green hair, brown eyes and a pointed chin. His hair also framed the sides of his face in a similar manner to sideburns. He usually wears a long-sleeved blue outfit with a flap on the front and the back and gold trimmings, a pair of white gloves, sandals, baggy pants that was tapered off by bandages and a hat, giving him the overall look of a bellop. While dressed in his ninja outfit he retains the same pants but wears a jacket over a mesh shirt with elbow guards and a pair of black gloves. He also carried a sword on his back, wore an unmarked forehead protector around his head and carried a shuriken holster. Excuse me, I don't want to be rude, but my feet is killing me from all this journey we went through. Can we please stop and rest for a minute? Iggy asked. Seriously? We're almost halfway to the village. You can wait for the time being and keep walking until we get there. Utakata said, using his pipe to blow some bubbles in the air. And will you please stop blowing bubbles for once? You've been doing that throughout this trip. It's really starting to annoy me. Iggy replied as the missing nin rolls his eyes. Can we all just get along, everyone? Hateru asked. Besides, I think Utakata-sensei's bubbles is beautiful. I always dance in the fields when the bubbles are flying everywhere all the time. She touched one of the bubbles before it popped. I seriously don't like it at all. Don't you agree, Bana? Iggy asked, looking back to his friend, who was touching the bubbles just like Hateru was. Iggy only looked back with a sigh, giving up on life. Utakata smirk admit victory on Iggy. The group continue their journey back home to the village. They should be there before the sun goes down. While walking, the missing nin stopped, seeing an object up ahead. He walked faster towards it. The others took notice as they follow him. Utakata walked towards a wooded wheel that belonged to a carriage. He examining the wheel, seeing some dirt on it. But saw blood on it as well. Utakata-sensei, is something wrong? Hateru asked. I saw this up ahead. He said, examining the wheel. We didn't see this before after we left the village a couple days ago. Looking at it, I see blood on it. And it's still fresh. Wonder what happened. You don't think any rogue ninjas tried to rob a carriage? Haru asked. How can they rob a carriage when a wheel is missing? The only thing I can know, there could be huge rouge ninjas like Bana. Iggy said. While the conversation was going on, Utakata teleported to his own mind world. He was surrounded in darkness with the light above him shining on him. He turned around to see an enormous white with a light bluish tint bipedal slug with stubby arms, feet and 6 long tails. It has 2 prominent optical tentacles, eyes, and hole-like openings as a mouth. Its entire body is covered in a thick slimy substance. The creature was approaching towards him once he stopped. Did you call me, Seiken? He asked. Sorry for the intuition, but it appears we have a big problem. The 6 tails explained. I don't sense the powers of the 2-tailed beast have gone silence. The rest of the other tailed beasts have gotten concerns about it. Of course, the other, that is the 9 tails, is on his own. We tried to get a chance to talk with him, but he couldn't answer to our response. We not sure what's wrong with him. The 9 tails has been acting really strange lately. What about his user, Naruto? Utakata asked. That's another problem we also have. There's something that bringing the 9 tails partner into this phase of the 9 tails problems. Seiken said. What are you trying to say? Utakata asked. I believe we're dealing with an enemy that's not from this planet. And it's very strong and very evil to deal with. That could be the one that we lost contact to the other 2-tailed beasts. Seiken said. Could it be both the Akatsuki or Orochimaru that are on the move? Utakata asked more. Sadly, it's not them we're dealing with. Seiken said. I see. Alright, keep me informed at this matter. We're gonna have to summon the other tailed beasts on this matter moving forward. Until then, let's wait and see what happens. Thank you, Seiken. He said. Utakata returned back to the real world of where he was positioned. He turned back to the others. We're gonna have to return to the village at once and tell the chief about this situation. He said. Are you sure? Haru asked. I'm positive. But I have a bad feeling about some. He was interrupted when he heard something rumbling in the bushes. The others turned to the left. The 3 men went in defensive stance. Iggy and Bana pulled out their weapons, ready for any attack that comes towards them. Haru got behind them for safety. Just then, a man appeared from the bushes. He had short dark hair with sideburns, with a small strand of hair sticking out near his forehead. He had small black eyes. He has his left hand covering his right shoulder, showing blood he was losing with a wound. Plus some blood from his mouth. The man saw the group before fainting, only for Utakata grabbing him before his body hit the ground. Quick. To the village now before he dies. The others teleport to the village as possible. Genbu, the island turtle, land of lightning. Genbu, more commonly known as the island turtle, is a gigantic and ancient domesticated turtle that resides in the land of lightning. Since Kumagakure's founding, they have cared for Genbu, who has in turn serves as a training ground for the shinobi. Genbu is described as a moving fortress whose size is so great that it can host other large animals, as well as other natural and man-made structures. It is considered to be the equivalent of Konohagakure's Forest of Death. But on the island lies a vacation home as a man with a muscular build, as well as blonde hair and a goatee. On his right shoulder, he has a tattoo of the kanji for iron, which is the iron armor seal that was used to seal Gyuki into him, and on his left cheek, he has a tattoo of a bull's horn. Correspondingly, Gyuki has horns like a bull, and the left one is partially missing. His top lip also has a slightly darker hue than his bottom one. He also wears oval-shaped sunglasses and a white-colored forehead protector of the Hidden Cloud Village logo on it. He also has his village's standard one strap over one shoulder flak jacket and a long red rope belt tied around his waist, the standard Komo hand and shin guards, shinobi sandals, and a white scarf around his neck. He originally carried 7 swords on his back, but now he only carries 2 swords on his back and stores the rest inside Samahata. Man, what a nice beautiful day this is. Killer Bee said in a rapping lyric tone voice. While getting ready to prepare for training as usually, his mind transported to another world. The light shines above him where darkness surrounds him. Killer Bee turned around seeing a large Ushi-Oni with 4 long horns on its head, similar to that of a Jacob sheep. As a tailed beast, it is extremely massive, dwarfing entire forests and towers over large rock formations and buildings, and matching the giant squid in size. The lower left part of its horns was permanently sliced off in a battle with the Raikage, and the right horns were destroyed by its own point-blank tailed beast ball. It also has straight teeth. It also has a muscular upper body structure, with a hunched back similar to an American bison, arms with spiked protrusions on the elbow, and hands with opposable thumbs like that of a human. Instead of hind legs, its lower half consists of its 8 tails, which resembles the cephalopod arms of an octopus. Gyuki, my main man. What's happening? Did you call me or something, homie? He asked. Sorry for me to disturb you, but we got in a situation happening. The 8 tails explained. I've just talked with Seiken, one of the tailed beasts just told me they lost contact with both Matatabi and Isobu. I don't know how they went missing, but he told me that even their users are also missing. Wait a minute, you're talking about Yujito, right? Because she's leading a convoy to the Hidden Leaf Village. She left a couple of days ago, and we've been in contact with her by sending scrolls to update the Raikage on her travels. Killer B replied. Do you think the Raikage knows by now? He would have sent you to his office by now. The Eight-Tails said. He would have brought either Derry or C to my house to inform me at the moment. You know how that goes. Killer B said. Well, either way, I can't feel any chakra on both the two-tailed beasts and their users. The other tailed beasts are concerned about it. However, there is one tailed beast that's really not in his own business. That's the Nine Tails. We tried to get him to inform what happened, but we haven't heard anything from him since. The Eight-Tails explained. I think we should be on alert of Yujito's whereabouts. Maybe I'll go to the Raikage's office and see what they have. Just in case. But in the meantime, I need to get some training going. Let me know anything, bro. Killer B said. Understood. Jayuki said. Killer B was back at his own position next to his house. He would have a chance at going to the Raikage's office later today. But first, he was gonna start his day off with his usually training. However, he was interrupted by a voice. He sensed 3 chakra at the same time. Turning around, appearing were 3 individual landing from the sky to the ground. 2 women and 1 man. The first is a tall, fair-skinned woman with a curvaceous figure who generally wears a stoic aloof expression on her face. She has blue eyes and straight shoulder-length blonde hair cut in an asymmetrical bob style. She wears a very low-cut outfit which displays her sizable cleavage, similar to Tsunade's busts, with mesh amaura underneath, a short skirt and red handguards, high boots, and what appears to be a modified Kumagakure flak jacket that covers her stomach only, similar to a girdle. She also carries a tanto strapped horizontally to her lower back. The second is a dark-skinned kunoichi with long spiky red hair and amber eyes. She was flat-chested. She wears a long, short-sleeved dress with frilly edges, complete with the Kumagakure flak jacket, 2 simple yellow earrings, fishnet stockings, thigh-high boots with white soles, and a forehead protector which she wears like a bandana. She also carries a long sword on her back. The third is a young, dark-skinned kumonin with short, spiky, white hair and dark eyes accentuated with eyelashes curving upwards from the corners. He wears a dark outfit consisting of an overlong shirt with a hood, with red bandage handguards, Kumagakure shin guards, and a black forehead protector, along with a Kumagakure flak jacket. He is always seen with a thoughtful expression, as though always in deep contemplation and sucking on a lollipop. He also carries a long sword on his back. Hey Master B. Long time no see. Cory said, hugging Killer B for a couple of seconds. Cory, Amoy, and Samui. Haven't seen y'all guys in a while. What's going on? Why y'all here? He asked. Sorry if we disturbing your day. But we have a message from the Raikage. Samui explained. He ordered you to be at his office at once. It has something to do with Yujito's whereabouts. Killer B was stunned, almost like the future was telling him what was coming. And just like that, it's in the nick of time this happened. He thought before turning to Amoy, who was sucking on a lollipop. You got another lollipop I can't have. Actually, this is the only one I have. Gotta love me some cherry. He replied, still sucking on it. Back in the Hidden Leaf Village, at the Hokage's office, Tsunade and Mei were sitting at the sofa, discussing on the upcoming Kage summit. Plus the incident at the hospital and the missing convoy that was found by Anbu's squad yesterday. Shizune entered the office with 2 cups and a bottle of sake. Placing the tray on the table, she poured the sake in both cups. Placing on the table and grabbing the tray, she exits from the office. The Hokage pulled out a forehead protector with the Kurigakure logo, covered in bloodstain. Where did you find this? Mei asked, grabbing the forehead protector. We found it where the missing convoy was located. Tsunade explained. However, all the Kiri Shinobis are dead. The former 4th Mizukage couldn't be found. Not a single trace of his whereabouts. And the carriage of the convoy was heavily damaged. Plus, we didn't had a chance to recover any of the bodies. It appears that all the bodies were in a gruesome way I've had ever seen in my life. What are you talking about? The Mizukage asked. The Anbu I've sent to find the convoy were ambushed on sight. The Hokage explained again. Only the commander and Hinoko survived the ambush. They brought one of their own back to the village with something covering his face. Which I'm gonna be doing some examination later in the coming days on the body. Who did the Anbu encounter? Rogue ninjas. She asked as Tsunade took a sip of her sake with her eyes closed before placing the cup on the table. Unfortunately, it weren't rogue ninjas that they didn't encounter. And I know rogue ninjas would never kill their targets in a brutal way. The Hokage explained as she opened her eyes. It appears they encounter an enemy that is not human. An enemy that not from this planet. And the enemy that killed many people in the hospital last night. Mei's green orbs were wide after hearing Tsunade's story. Are you saying that my men were killed by a monster? What kind of monster we're dealing with? She asked. I'm not sure what it is. But these type of creatures we're dealing with is something so deadly that many of the Anbu were scared of. We don't know where these came from. But it's like someone has created these things for possible attack in the future on our villages. Tsunade said as Mei took a sip of her sake. And there's a reason why a Kage summit will be coming in the near future. On this topic of what these type of creatures we're dealing with, everyone should be on alert about the situation. Hopefully the other Kages are getting message. Mei said. I did get a scroll from the Kazekage that he's on his way to the village as we speak. He did heard about the incident that happened. He should be here by nightfall. Tsunade said. I see. Mei said. Suddenly, the ladies heard loud voices on the other side of the door. Konohamaru and his friends bust through the door as the other guards were behind them, trying to get them out of the office. Chijoro and Ao appeared in the office, trying to protect the Mizukage. But Mei ordered them to stand down as they did. Tsunade walked over to the third Hokage's grandson. Not happy that he barged in here without permission. Excuse me, boy. Who gives you the right to enter the office without permission? Better have a good explanation. She yelled. It's Naruto. A group of villagers trying to pick a fight with him. He answered. What? The Hokage yelled. Is there something wrong? Mei asked. Sorry, we'll continue this meeting later on. Tsunade said, turning to her guards at the doors. Call the other senseis and the others right now. She turned back to Konohamaru. Where was the last time you saw Naruto? It was on Hokage Rock. My friends and I were with Naruto just chatting with him until a group of men just came out of nowhere and pushed him to the ground. I tried to fight them, but Naruto told me to come get you. He explained. We're going to Hokage Rock. Mei, you can help us if you want. Tsunade said as she exited from her office. Mei turned to her bodyguards as the Kiri Anbu appears out of nowhere before following the Hokage. Konohamaru, Mogi, and Yuden followed suit. Meanwhile in the village, Sakura, Ino, Hinata and Tenten were walking through the village. They were still in deep thought, trying to get the Hokage to tell them about Naruto's childhood past. But to no hope. Though they weren't gonna give up on it until they found out about it. So what are we gonna do now? Ino asked. Well, we can still have a chance to talk with the Hokage. Maybe later on because she's right now in a meeting with the Mizukage. Sakura said. I heard the Mizukage is a woman that is very beautiful. Hinata said. Since you put it that way, I heard that both Katetsu and Izuma were fighting for her to escort the Mizukage to the Hokage. Tenten said as the girls laughed at the scene. Their laughter stopped when they heard a group of men yelling. Running to the corner of the village, they saw a mob throwing objects at a building. Turns out the building was Naruto's apartment. One man threw a brick at the window, breaking it. Many of the men were at the stairs, using red paint on the walls of the apartment. Painting the words Demon Child on the walls next to the entrance of the doorway. Another painted the words Get out of our village. The girls were shocked but were scarred at the same time. Sakura rushed over to get an answer to one of the mob. Excuse me, what's going on here? She asked. We want the child demon out of our village. One of the people yelled. Child demon? What are you talking about? And the house belongs to my friend. Sakura yelled. You don't seem to get it. He was the one that summoned that creature that killed 4 people at that hospital. The man replied with those dead eyes type. The girls were dumbfounded by the man and the others. They were still confused on why they would call Naruto a demon child. One of the men gave the girls a newspaper. They looked to it on the front page of the Konoha Daily newspaper. The headline reads Child Demon Strikes. 4 people murdered in hospital. It shows the photo of Naruto with his Xenomorph. The girls were stunned by it, but they knew it was a lie. There's no way Naruto would do such a thing. Sakura yelled. How would you know? One of the men answered. Because he was with us the whole time. I was with him to pick him up at the apartment complex to get him to the hospital. This is all lies you're reading. You've been brainwashed by it. Sakura yelled. Then you're one of his enablers to protect him at all cost. The other men yelled. Hinata was afraid. Sakura got her fist ready for a punch to the mob. Ino was prepared to fight. And Tenten got her scrolls ready for whatever it was coming from them. But suddenly, Kakashi and Might Guy with other shinobis appeared in between the group. The copy ninja turned to see Naruto's home being painted with graffiti and windows being broken. I want all ninjas to make sure the mob is dispersed out of the streets at once. He turned towards the girls. Girls, the Hokage just ordered us to be at Hokage Rock at once. Naruto's in trouble. The girls were stunned as they agreed to the situation. They disappeared together, leaving the other shinobis to deal with the rioters. Meanwhile, Naruto already dealt with the men that were pushing him around. They were knocked out easily on the ground as the noisy ninja stood tall on a nearby tree. looking at the group already down below him. He was still in question what got them to attack him for no reason. What was this all about? They just attacked me for no reason. He thought for a second once he sensed something approaching towards him. Turning his head, he saw multiple kunes with explosive tags were aiming towards him. He jumped off the tree just seconds before the kunes hit the tree and the explosive tags were set off, destroying the tree instantly. A noisy ninja landed back on the ground. Looking around to see who attacked him. He turned to see both Fuyamanaka, who behind him, and Toranaburami, who in front of him. Then, appearing from the treetops were multiple members of Root. What this all about? Naruto asked. Let me guess, trying to intimidate me by putting me back in your cell. Unfortunately, Naruto. We have orders by Danzo. He's giving you a choice to keep you alive. Torin said. What are you talking about? Naruto asked. He's ordering you to leave this village at once and never come back. Fu said. We all know you have the 9 tails inside of you. We don't want to have another incident of this village just like in the past. And remember, the villagers here don't like you. So either leave this once or die trying. Naruto was hearing about his childhood past that many people don't want to hear. Not ever his friends. Now, he was being lectured by Danzo and his guards to be kicked out of the village. But he wasn't gonna let nobody being told of what he does. I'm not gonna stand here and listen to this crap. You guys want to fight? You got one. He said as the enemy charges towards him for a fight. Back in the hidden sand village, Gaara, Temari and Kankura were already done packing. Making their last check on things before leaving the village. They exit the Kazekage's office as they saw 6 Una Shinobi standing there in front of them. 4 women and 2 men. 4 of the 6 dressed in their standard attire of a Shinigami ninja including the turban to give them shades from the heated sun. The 2 women were dressed in different clothes. One with long dark hair and large brown eyes framed by noticeable eyelashes. She wore a grey midriff vest over a short plaid shirt, revealing her bare stomach. She wore her arm guards and the skirt. Additionally, she wore black stockings and a Sunagaker forehead protector. The second girl has straight chin-length brown hair, dark eyes, and fair skin. She wore a dark shirt with a skirt of the same color and a Sunagaker flak jacket. Finally, everyone is here. Temari said. Yes ma'am. We're all here and accountable. Mitsuri said. We couldn't miss this trip with the rest of you. Yukata said. Are you sure you have everything with you? Once we exit the village, we're not coming back for another couple of days. Gaara said. Everyone has their things together. We're all ready when you are. Tessa said. After that, the group and the siblings were off as they exit the village and begin their journey to the Hidden Leaf village. As they continue their journey, Gaara was in deep thought about his conversation with his own tailed beast about the 9 tails and Naruto. Flashback. A sandy brown colored tanuki with dark blue cursed seal markings all over its face, body, and tail. It has a jagged concave mouth with no tongue and the sclerae of its eyes are black with yellow irides and pupils that each takes the shape of a black 4-pointed star with 4 black dots around. It appears in the darkness, staring at Gaara, who was looking at the large creature. Did you call me, Gaara? Shukaku asked. I noticed that 2 chakra of both Igura and Ujido are no longer exist. Plus, their own tailed beast are long gone. I can't tell by the powers I usually sense. Do you notice any of it? Gaara asked. I do. I was wondering the same thing. I'm not sure what on earth has happened. I'll try to see if I can sense their powers once we're done talking. Shukaku said. Also, I'm planning on making a trip to the Hidden Leaf village later today. I got a message from the Hokage that an emergency Kage summit could be happening there. It appears that there was serious situation happening there. A hospital was a massacre happened. 4 people were killed, but many more made it out alive. It wasn't rogue ninjas that did all this, it was something that was not human. Gaara explained. Not human? What are you talking about? Shukaku asked. I'm not sure, but I will find out what has happened once I arrive. I did heard that the Mizukage is there as well. Gaara replied. Also, I did heard that Naruto was arrested. Not by the Hokage though, but a group known as Root. No way. You're kidding. Shukaku said with a shocked face. I'll explain more on the way. Until then, just make sure you keep trying to contact both tailed beasts. Let me know when you found them. Gaara said, ready to go back to his world. Hey Gaara. One more thing. Shukaku said. We better keep a close eye on the 9 tails. I'm not sure what has happening to him. But he's been acting very weird. He didn't talk with any of us. Interesting. Maybe I'll talk with Naruto about the 9 tails. Gaara said before walking off, returning to his world. Then flashback. Gaara was worried for Naruto and the 9 tails. He will indeed get to the bottom of everything once they reach the Hidden Leaf village. Meanwhile, back in Konohagakure, the Ramen Ichiraku was being attacked by the rioters. The curtain were torn off. The rioters had bricks, kunes, swords, chains, and padlocks. Covered with their hooded mask to conceal their identities. Tucci had a butcher's knife, ready to strike on anyone that tries to attack him, and especially his daughter. Am has a hammer as a weapon in case anyone strikes first. "Father, where's Naruto where you need him?" she replied, feeling nervous. "I'm not sure," he replied. One of the masked men launched his attack on them. Fang will fang. A person yelled out a jutsu, sending the attackers flying out of the place. The attackers weren't dead or wounded but were injured. They look up to see both Kiba and Akamaru appearing out of nowhere. One of the attackers tried to attack the two, but several vines came out from the ground beneath him. Entangling his entire body, trying to use his kunai to escape from it. One of the vines tied around the hand where the kunai was. A bean pod appeared in front of him, where it opened and appearing from it was Kurenai. Ready to strike on him. The man was begging for his life. "I give up. I give up. Please don't kill me." The man surrendered in a flash. The Squad 8 leader knocked him out cold before untangling the vines around him. His body falls to the ground as the other men surrender quickly. Kurenai exit from the pod. Hinata and Shino joined up with Kiba, Akamaru, and their leader. "Seems like they just gave up that quickly. I was hoping for a good fight," Kiba said as Akamaru barked and replied. "These thugs aren't not that strong enough. They were weak only preying on the civilians that were weak," Kurenai said. "Besides, by looking at them, these people were used to stage the riots." "Really? Who could it be?" Hinata asked. "I'm not sure. But I know full well who it is," she replied as both Tucci and Am exit from the restaurant. "Thank you for saving us from these people. They were just started coming in here doing trouble for no reason." "Do you know why?" Tucci asked. "No idea and I don't get why these riots are starting. But I can tell you this, these are staged riots, so you don't have to worry about it one bit," Kurenai said. "Do you think they're gonna get back up and attack us?" Am asked. "No. Because these are cowards that prey on the innocents instead of us," Kurenai replied. Suddenly, an explosion was heard. They look up and saw smoke rising from Hokage Rock. "Wonder what's happening over there?" Shino asked. "I'm not sure. But we must hurry," Kurenai said as they left the scene in a flash. Meanwhile, at the gates, Kitetsu and Izumo were in a fight with the same thugs that attacked the Ramen Ichiraku. One of the thugs used chains to hit Kitetsu's face. But the Chunin user grabbed a kunai and breaking the chains to pieces with one strike. He then answers with a punch to the thug's stomach, sending him in pain. The other thug tries to stab the Chunin with his sword. Kitetsu counters by grabbing the thug's left arm, breaking it instantly before knocking him out cold with a punch on the face. Izumo had two thugs with different weapons from the front and behind him. One had a sword while the other had a padlock as brass knuckles. The first thug tries to distract him, while the second uses its padlock to tries to instantly punch Izumo to the face. But the Chunin dodges both attacks. He counters quickly, pulling out a Kusari Fundo weapon. Swinging the chain's weapons with both weights at the end. He hits both thugs, knocked out cold. The fight ended within seconds. "What the hell was this all about?" he asked. "I'm not sure. They just came out of nowhere for no reason," Kitetsu said. Suddenly, they sensed chakra as they saw Squad 10 arriving at their location. The team saw the thugs all knocked out to the ground. "What on earth happened? Even though you guys took care of them quickly," Asuma said. "They just came out of nowhere. Trying to attack us." One of them before they attack yelled if anyone a friend to the demon container, they should be killed instantly. "That's what they said," Izumo said. The others were stunned by that situation. Except for Asuma who knows about the Nine Tails incident. But Ino heard that before when the rioters were trying to destroy Naruto's apartment. Suddenly, another explosion was heard yet again. The others look up where it was the same explosion occurring on Hokage's rock. "It's coming from there. We gotta hurry." Kitetsu, Izumo. "Take care of these guys once we get the situation under control." Squad 10 quickly vanished. Back on Hokage's rock, Naruto took the battle scene to a nearby wooded area. Trying to get the battle away from the village to not let anyone civilians being hurt. He noticed how long it has been. He didn't notice that he's been using all his chakra and it's about to be gone in a hurry. Looking around, one root member's trying to kill him with a sword but the noisy ninja dodges it in a hurry. Though, he got a slight cut on its right arm from the blood. Wasn't too seriously though but a little bleeding. "What is this all about? Why are they after me?" he asked to himself. He landed at a nearby clearing in the wooded area. Looking around, many root members were standing on the treetops looking at Naruto. Both Fu and Torin appear in between the noisy ninja. "End of the road, Uzumaki. You still have a choice to live. Either you leave this village at once or face death," Fu replied, pulling out his sword, ready for any attack. "If you think you're gonna pull whatever stunt you have left, don't think 1 minute that will work. We can tell you're losing enough chakra," Which means you're about to lose as much as you can. Not even the 9 tails that's inside of you isn't gonna help you out. Torun said. Those comments made by Naruto very angry inside. He could sense the 9 tails was very angry about it. He was about to use his Jinchuriki form to control Naruto with his rage. But the noisy ninja didn't let him. Instead, Naruto, despite low chakra, still wasn't gonna back down without a fight. Shadow Clone Jutsu. He used his usually jutsu to take on a lot of enemies. However, what he didn't notice was something was about to happen. Which the 9 tails forgot to warn him about. Wait, Naruto. Don't use the jutsu. The beast warned him, but it was too late. Instead of multiple Naruto clones, turn out it was instead 10 Xenomorph clones. The noisy ninja was stunned at what he's seeing. The other root members were shocked as well. Both Fu and Torun were stunned, but something noticed them. It wasn't a surprise. So, Lord Danzo was right all along. If this is all true, then it appears at the same time when Naruto touched the creature at the hospital had its essence inside the ninja's blood. He can control those things at the same time. I'm wondering if the 9 tails knows. Fu thought. Sir, your orders. One of the root members asked. Attack the demon container at once. Just be careful with those creatures. They attack fast. Fu ordered. Rest of root move in to attack. Naruto was in doubt. He has the creatures as clones. Can he use them to attack? It was the most hardest move than ever he had to made. Looking back at the attack, one of the Xenomorphs saw the root ninja's assault with a sword about to strike on Naruto. The Xenomorph roared as it flies towards him, tackling him to the ground. The ninja tried to kill it only for a quick tongue strike to the face, ending his life. The creature continues eating his flesh. Naruto was stunned, but the 9 tails only smiled at it. Naruto, you have a choice. Either you stay alive and order the Xenomorphs at once to attack, or you'll be dead, and even worse, I'll be dead. The beast answered. The noisy ninja indeed had a choice. It was either life or death for him. Quick, attack. He ordered the Xenomorphs as their ord. The other 9 Xenomorphs joined in the battle. A root member with a kunai threw its weapons towards the creature's big head. Stuck on it, thinking he killed it. Instead, the creature pulled the weapon out its head and threw it back, striking the ninja's head. It wasn't done yet. The Xenomorph swung a barbed tail, slitting the ninja's neck, causing blood to gush out. The ninja used its hands to cover the wound, but knowing more blood was coming, gasping at the same time, he was getting closer to death's door. The third Xenomorph was battling with 2 root members with swords. It swung its tail at the ninjas. Both of them teleport away from its attack. One snuck behind the creature, slashing it from its back with its sword. But only being spashed by its acidic blood towards his face. The ninja was screaming in pain, covering his face, feeling the sizzling of its face burning big time. The other ninja, horrified what he saw. He tries to kill the creature only to be stabbed from behind by another Xenomorph with its tail strike. The other creature ran towards the ninja, ending his life as they maul him to death. While the battle was raging, Naruto could only look to see the death he was creating. He didn't want this, especially if the ninjas were part of Danzo's root squad. They know they had families waiting for them at the village. The noisy ninja quickly disappeared in a puff of smoke, along with the Xenomorphs, leaving the dead bodies of Root. Shit, he's getting away. After him. Fu yelled as the others disappeared as well from the wooded area. Naruto was back in the Hidden Leaf village. Landing in the middle of the dirt road. The Xenomorphs appear around him. At the same time he heard a scream. Opening his eyes, he looked to see civilians all around him. They were all scared of what they were seeing. The rumors are true. The demon controls them. One of civilians yelled. This demon should be hanged to the gallows for killing those people at the hospital. A woman civilian replied. You don't deserve to be here. A boy yelled at Naruto. Leave this village at once, demon filth. Another civilian replied. Send those creatures back to where you came from. Never again set foot on this village. Another yelled back. More and more, the insults and the most worst words that can describe was hurting Naruto. His childhood past was coming back to haunt him. He wished he would never want to hear any of these words. But it wasn't gonna stop. More and more, the insults was coming, it was like a plague towards him. These people want him out for good. Because of lies and Decent was brainwashing the entire village to turn against him. You're a disgusting demon child that your mother and father raised you. A disgusting filth that needs to die from the planet. A ninja with a sword ready to kill Naruto. It was the last straw right there. The noisy ninja had had enough of the insults. Shut up. Naruto yelled so loud that every window of the village shattered. One of the Xenomorphs charged at the ninja and sliced his legs instead with its barbed tail. The weak ninja screamed in pain as the civilians were scarred as hell. The ninja opens his eyes seeing Naruto's eyes of black with red slit on them. His teeth were razor sharp of the 9 tails. His rage has taken control of him. So you don't trust me? Is that it? He whispered, pulling out his kunai, ready to strike on the weak ninja. The only thing I see in your eyes and you're weak. You think you're tough to take me on, but instead you're scarred in your own mind. The ninja saw Naruto ready to kill him with a kunai. Instead, the blade was inches from his face. He turned to see Naruto's eyes back to the normal blue. But I won't kill you. He whispered before getting back up to face the rest of the village. Is that it? Is this the thanks I get for saving this village? Huh, is that it? His voice roared throughout the village again. All I wanted was respect. That's it. That's all I wanted. But in your own mind, you're scarred of me because the 9 tails inside me killed all your loved ones. Don't blame me. I didn't have blood in my hands throughout this village. I was a baby when the 4th Hokage placed the 9 tails inside me to save this village. But look around on you giving me the lack of respect. I use my body to save this village. I fought with blood, sweat and tears to defend this village at all cost from enemies that become a threat. My dream is to become to the Hokage to protect you. But this is the thanks I get. Instead, I get name calling, pushed back, beaten, and everything I have in the past because of the beast that's inside me. The tears in Naruto's eyes were coming out. His heart was breaking so much. I apologize to you for the pain that you feel. I apologize on the 9 tails' behalf. For all the people you lost when the 9 tails attacked this village. But after today, this is the most unbreakable moment I've never thought I witnessed. All the villagers remained silent as the ninja could only sob silently. Naruto the noisy ninja heard a whisper tone. Looking up from the rooftop to see Tsunade, Kakashi, Kurenai, Asuma, Might Guy, Yamato, and the Mizukage. Then turning to his right, he saw his friends, Sakura, Sai, Hinata, Kiba, Shino, Ino, Shikamaru, Choji, Rock Lee, Tenten, and Niji. They all heard his story. Both Sakura and Ino were both heartbroken by it. Hinata was sobbing at the story. Mei could only has a tear coming from her green orbs. For the first time, they were stunned to hear his past about the 9 tails. They were just as guilty from their time when they picked on Naruto at childhood. A ninja that tried to attack Naruto was arrested by Anbu squad. Other shinobis appear around the villagers as the Hokage ordered them to move the civilians out of the area. Tsunade jumped in front of Naruto. Are you okay, Naruto? She asked as she tries to hug him, but he stopped her from doing so. Lady Tsunade, I'm sorry. But afraid this village doesn't want me anymore. He replied, still with tears coming out from his eyes. Naruto, don't say things like that. She replied. Unfortunately, you don't have to worry about me. He said before he untied his protector headband and giving it to the Hokage. Because I'm planning this leave this village my own way. Everyone was shocked at the news. But they didn't notice at another part of the building. Both Fu and Torun could only smile with a smirk on their faces. Let's hurry back to HQ and tell Danzo the news. Looks like this plan was done in a second. Fu replied as they disappeared from the rooftop. Orochimaru's hideout at Tagakur, land of sound. The village itself wasn't just a regular village. It was a network of laboratories composed of various hideouts and bases scattered throughout the land of sound and various other countries. In one of the hideouts, the tunnels itself with numerous rooms and a state of a gigantic snake coiled up with candles in its eyes. In the laboratory, the snake Sannin was producing a new product for his next attack. Already a traitor to the Hidden Leaf village for murdering the 3rd Hokage Aka his own sensei, he vowed to continue his chance for world domination. Lord Orochimaru. He heard a voice coming from the doorway. What is it, Kabuto? He asked as a man, dressed in a maroon-colored cloak with a hood designed to resemble a serpent's head, with white, red, and yellow markings that resembles eyes. Similar to the Xenomorph's barbed tail, he has a large snake tail appearing from behind. Sorry if disrupt your work, but I have a scroll from you. I'm not sure who this came from, but it's for you. He replied as the snake Sannin grabbed the scroll and began reading it. Dear Orochimaru, my name is David. You and I share a common goal on bent of controlling the world. I know you're in a quest of world domination as so am I. That's why I send this scroll as an invitation for an upcoming meeting. Join me for this special meeting along with others that I have sent. This is a map where my base is located. You'll find it soon. Hope to see you there, David. He read the whole thing before closing the scroll. So, what was it about? Kabuto asked. It appears this new individual is doing the same goals as I do and want me to come to this meeting he's planning. The snake Sannin explained. And I'm not the only one that's invited, there is many coming as well. Really? Who are there? Kabuto asked more. I'm not sure. But I'm gonna find out one way or another. We're making plans to head to the meeting at once. Orochimaru said, walking from his lab. Yes, Lord Orochimaru. Kabuto said, following him out of the lab. A Megakure Aka, the hidden village in the rain. An industrialized hidden village located in an unarmed country with all the water seemingly ends in a large lake that surrounds the village. It rains almost constantly in the Megakure and the surrounding area. However, in a large building. Many people dressed in long black cloaks with red clouds, a red interior, and a chin-high collar. The red clouds represent the rain of blood that fell in Omegakur during its wars and were viewed as a symbol of justice by its original members. All the members were sitting in the long table of a large room. The large doors in front of them opened together. Two people entered the room. One is a man with long hair grown to waist length with shoulder-length bangs framing the sides of his face, covering most of his right eye. The other wears a mask with a spiral pattern focused around his right eye. The masked man sat at the end of the table while the other stands next to him. "Everyone, I call this meeting here. It appears someone has brought me a scroll that's inviting us to a meeting," Obito Uchida said. "A meeting? By who?" Conan asked. "A man by the name of David," Madara Uchida explained. "Obito and I read the whole scroll throughout before we call for the meeting. He has the same goals like us. Though we don't know more about him, he inviting us to a meeting for something special. We did heard that there were others attending the meeting. Don't know who they were. I don't know about this. It could be a trap. Set up by any of the Kages that tries to trap us," Deidara said. "I agree. They're looking to try to end our plans," Haiden said. "I would doubt that. Because our network of spies around the 5 great countries we set up would have informed us about this meeting by now," Obito explained. "Besides, whoever this person is has the same goal as us. He wishes to join forces with him to obliterate the entire 5 great countries with all his might. Are you sure we can trust him? We exactly don't know who this David guy is. Friend or foe?" Juzope said. "I agree. He could turn our backs against within 1 second. You know damn full well that could happen," Kakuzu said. "I understand the situation. Yes, when you made friends with a person, he could backstab us any minute. But for the time being, we will attend the meeting. He gave us the location of where his home is at. Kinda interesting is in the land of fire. Just be on guard if anything happens." Dismissed. Obito said as the others got up from their chairs, heading for the exits, still complaining about the situation. "I don't like this idea. I'm sure what Obito and Madara are thinking the same thing like us," Conan said. "Don't worry, I know what the two are thinking," Nagato explained. "I do want to know who this David guy is. Plus, wonder what kind of meeting is we're about to see. Either way, we have a mission to do. That's making the world a better place away from the 5 great countries. And maybe, this David guy could give an explanation." "I hope you're right," Conan replied. Valley of the End. The Valley of the End is located close to the border of the Land of Fire and the Land of Sound. With the waterfall serving as a border for both lands, the valley was later memorialized with 2 giant statues of the main combatants. Hashirama on the Land of Fire's side of the waterfall and Madara on the opposite side to symbolism his deflection from the village. It was peace and quiet in the valley. However, an individual wearing a grey zippered, high-collared, short-sleeved shirt and blue wrist warmers. He wears a hooded cloak over his clothing at different points. Behind his shirt is the Uchida clan logo. He wore a cloak, sitting on the top of the statue of Madara with his eyes closed thinking of something in his mind. His eye opens in a flash when he sensed something. Looking down of where the waterfall, he saw something that he would never imagine. 4 individual with extremely pale white, hairless and were humanoids due to their subterranean nature, with 2 arms and legs with dead-seeming eyes. The veins underneath their skin are visible, and their pupils are in the shape of oblong symbols. They were 9 to 10 feet tall and breathe oxygen just like human beings. They are extremely strong and resilient. What on earth are these people? I've never seen anything in my life. Sasuke Uchida thought, examining the group from the statue. One of the humanoids were communicated with the 3. Sasuke couldn't understand what they were saying due to speaking in different languages. He noticed one of the humanoids pulled out a small bowl. Placing it on the ground in the middle. The humanoids got on their knees as they opened the bowl. Sasuke quickly activated his Sharingan. Both his eyes turned red. Similar to the Byakugan, he used his eyes to zoom in on the bowl. It shows some type of black chemical stuff inside it. What is in that stuff? He thought. He zoomed out from the bowl to look at the humanoids. The first grabbed the bowl and slowly placed it in his mouth, drinking it. He passed the bowl to the second one and does the same. The second passed to the third and finally the fourth. All 4 humanoids took a sip of the mysterious black chemical they drink in their mouths. Looking around at the cloudy sky above them, the first humanoid was flinching. The bowl he had with him dropped in the water. The other humanoids checked to see if he was okay. Suddenly, the other 3 begin feeling the same thing. Looking at their arms, body, and legs, the black chemical inside them was spreading rapidly around their bodies. Their DNA inside were getting the black liquid on them, causing their DNA to break apart quickly. Their bodies were evaporating to tiny bits of black particles. Screaming in pain, echoing throughout the valley. Their bodies fall to the water and within seconds, their bodies were evaporates for good. The black liquid spread throughout the water. Sasuke landed on the ground of where the humanoids were. His eyes were wide and he had chills throughout his body. Looking down at the water before looking back at the bowl on the ground. What on earth did I just saw? Was this kind of sacrifice ritual I just witnessed? And what was that stuff inside that bowl they just drank out of? He thought. The only thing Sasuke could think of was just standing there in deep thought. Witnessing something he would never thought of seeing. The sun was setting down for another day to end at Tsuchigumo village. Uchiha and Harem returned to the village on time. Both Bana and Iggy was carrying the wounded man that they found when they were returning to the village. They carried the man to a nearby building that is a hospital, but not like the kind of hospitals in the Hidden Leaf village or other hospitals of the 5 great countries. The others exit from the building to let the healers work on the man. They were around the wounded man, placing their hands on parts of his body. They use mystical palm technique. A medical ninjutsu which allows the user to speed up the body's natural healing process by sending chakra from their hands into a wound or afflicted body part. This allows the user to heal a patient without the need for medical equipment or surgery. The process was going smoothly, the man's wounds were disappearing at a rapid speed. At the same time, no Jioha, Haru's grandfather, the village chief of the Tsuchigumo clan, was watching the process. He got updates of the man's conditions. He wanted to talk with him once he's fully healed and awake from his sleep. He exited from the building where he saw Haru, Uchiha, Bana and Iggy, waiting for any news. "How is he, grandfather?" Haru asked. "He'll be doing okay. The wounds around his body is disappearing at the nick of time," he explained. "Once he fully awake, I want to ask questions on what happened and who he encountered. Wonder why was he near the village at the time?" "I guess he encountered a group of Rouge ninjas," Uchiha answered. "Could be. But there's no way any rogue ninjas would be around near the village. Our guards would have gave me information of any intruders within the area," the village chief replied. "Another question I want to ask," Iggy said. "Was he the only one around when we found him? If he did encounter Rouge ninjas, he would have himself a squad. Plus, he didn't had any headband protector with him that would be associated with any of villages around the country. What about his wounds? What did it look like?" And no Jioha asked. "He had long multiple cuts around him. Serious wound was his big stabbed wound on his left shoulder. He came out from the wooded area, covering that shoulder with his right hands. He tried to keep pressure on it, but it just kept coming out. He's lucky we made it on time to the village. He would have probably died if we didn't make it," Uchiha said. The village chief looks back to the man in the room. "I'm gonna to my room. We'll have armed guards around the village for the time being. I'm not sure who attacked him or not. But whoever it was, we better be prepared for what await us outside the village." And no Jioha said as he walked back to his home. Uchiha looked at him before turning back to the village gates. "Is everything okay, sensei?" Haru asked. "Everything's fine," he replied. The man had burn marks like acidic hit his body. Then some bloody scars and a big wound. Those are the kind of things a Rouge ninja would never attack like. Whoever what we're dealing with is not human. Something on the outside of the village. We better be on guard and ready for whatever it is. The man could give us questions of who he fought once he wakes up. Maybe that'll be the key to all of this," Iggy replied. "If it's not human then what is?" Bana asked. "I'm not sure," Uchiha replied. "I wonder if this attack was connected to the missing of both Yujiro and Yugura. And both their missing tailed beast. If Siku is correct, then we're dealing with an enemy that not only human, but not from this world." Tsuchikage Office Awagakure, Land of Earth. Awagakure, also known as the Hidden Stone Village, located in the Land of Earth as one of the 5 great countries. The rocky mountain range that surrounds the village provide a natural stronghold that it is very proud of. The village's infrastructure is built from much of the surrounding rock and stone, shaped into tower-like structures that are interconnected by a network of bridges. At the office of the Tsuchikage, located to be the tallest structure with a cone-shaped roof and bears the kanji for earth on it, a very short old man with a triangular beard and a mustache that has angular corners, a big red nose, and thick eyebrows. The top of his head is complete bald, although he has long white hair on the lower half of his head, which is styled in a traditional Chanmage haircut, the back of which is tied with a yellow ribbon into a top knot. Dressed in his usually green and yellow coat with a red coat, he wears the traditional Awagakure outfit consistent of a light green version of Awagakure's flak jacket and mesh armor. He was grumbling and floating in the air to his desk. He placed his Tsuchikage hat on his desk before floating down to his sit. "Damn those idiots. Can't know how to cook a food that I deserve to have," Inoki said, not happy coming back from a restaurant he was going for dinner. "Promise I would never go back to the fine dined ever again." A knock was heard from the door. "Come," he answered as the door opened. He looked to see a girl with short black hair and black eyes which are accentuated by her eyelashes running upwards at the corners. She wears the standard attire of the Iwanin, consisting of a red uniform with her right sleeve missing and a lapel over her right leg, the brown Awagakure flak jacket, fishnet tights and a skirt over them. "Granddaughter, what are you doing here?" he asked. "Let me guess, you're in your bad mood again," Kurotsuchi said. "I'm not in my bad mood. I'm just," he replied, trying to make up something. "Nice try, Gramps. I heard you lash out at the restaurant earlier tonight all because of their food. Are you really that senile or just delusional?" she asked as he slammed his fist to the table. "How dare you call me senile? The food I ate there almost gave me food poisoning. Almost like an assassination attempt on me," he replied as his granddaughter just shakes her head, placing her hand on her face at the same time. "I think you should just retire and give me the title to the Tsuchikage. I think you need to retire to a retirement home," Kurotsuchi said. "I will not retire as Tsuchikage. You're not ready to become that reign yet," Inoki said. "Come on, old man. You've been around for a long time. I can tell you're tired as hell," Kurotsuchi said. Suddenly, the door was heard opened. A large and imposing man, with dark eyes and black hair that spikes out at the back from underneath his bandana-styled forehead protector. He also has large cheeks and a plump nose which give him an overall look of constant joviality. He wears the red Awagakure uniform which has both its sleeves underneath his flak jacket and accentuates it with a yellow scarf which he wraps around his neck. "Ah, Lord Tsuchikage. Back from dinner I believe?" Akatsuchi asked, walking towards the group. "Tell me about it." "He thinks the restaurant he went tried to poison his food. He is just senile." Kurotsuchi rolled her eyes. "Stop calling me senile," Inoki replied before turning to his bodyguard. "What is it you want, Akatsuchi?" "Oh, yes. I got a scroll from the Earth Daimyo," he replied, giving the scroll to the Tsuchikage. "They said there could likely be an emergency Kage summit in the coming days." "Kage summit?" Kurotsuchi asked. Inoki untied the scroll as he began reading it. It took a couple of seconds of reading the whole scroll. So the Kage summit could likely be happening in the Hidden Leaf village. It seems there was a situation that was happening in the village and the Hokage is calling for an emergency Kage summit. I'm not sure what the situation is, but from this scroll I'm reading, the Mizukage is already there at the village. The Kazekage is already heading there as we speak. We could likely have a mediator for time being for this meeting. This should be interesting," he explained. "What are you saying?" Akatsuchi asked. "I'm saying we're making a trip to the Hidden Leaf village right now," Inoki said. "What? Right now? The sun is already going down for the night. Can't we wait until tomorrow?" Kurotsuchi asked. "No time. We must hurry as fast as we." The Tsuchikage got up from his seat only for to hear a crack on his back. Screeching in pain, he placed his hand on his back. Both Kurotsuchi and Akatsuchi ran behind the desk to help him. "Why does this always happen to me?" he asked. "Sai, you really are that stupid," Kurotsuchi said, covering her face and shaking her head at the same time. Akatsuchi carried the Tsuchikage to the bedroom to get his back healed. The Tagakure land of rice. In the village located in the land of rice, Sasuke got himself an inn for the night. He would continue his journey the next morning. Though he's still a wanted criminal throughout the 5 great countries, he would be safe in the land of rice for the time being. He was in the bathroom, splashing water in his face in the sink. Turning the water off, he looked at the mirror at himself. His face was like in horror. Experiencing what he saw 4 humanoids committing a suicide ritual in the Valley of the End. The visions of it would haunt him in his head for a while. What the fuck did I just witness? He thought. Suddenly, a knock was being heard from his door. He rushed out of the bathroom, grabbing his sword from the table. He walked slowly to the door as it continues to being knocked. He took cover next to the door. He placed his sword on his left hand. He used his right hand on the doorknob. Turning the knob, he slowly opens the door. Then quickly in a flash he widely opens it, ready to strike on his enemies, only for a girl appearing by landing on top of him with open arms. "There you are, Sasuke." The girl has crimson eyes, fair skin, and the characteristic red hair of the Uzumaki clan which she wears in an unusual hairstyle. Her hair is short and spiky on the right side, while longer and straight on the left side. She wears brown narrow glasses, which have a serrated blade hidden in them, and her outfit consists of a lavender uniform that exposes her navel, short black shorts, and long black thigh-high stockings with black sandals. Her chest, neck and arms are covered with bite marks that result from people biting her to heal, and all of which are hidden by her uniform. "Karen, what are you doing here? How did you find me?" Sasuke asked. Karen got off of him and at the same time, 2 people also enter his room. The first person is a lean-built young man of average height, straight white hair with a light blue tint, almond-shaped purple eyes, and like most of the members of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist, he has pointed teeth, one of which sticks out even when his mouth is closed. He wears a purple sleeveless shirt with blue pants, sandals and a belt around his waist, with water bottles attached to it. The second person is a tall, muscular young man who has spiky orange hair, red-orange eyes and a usually calm disposition. However, when affected by his murderous side, his skin turns dark, his irides become a pale yellow color, while his sclery turn black, and he grows various weapons and appendages to suit his battle combat situation, as well as having a deranged look. He has a bracket-shaped symbol on his left palm. Sujetsu, Jugo. How you guys found me? Sasuke asked again. Do you really think you were gonna get away from us? Sujetsu asked. You were planning to abandon us to try to find your brother, didn't you? I already said I don't need nobody's help. Sasuke said, putting his sword away. So why didn't you form Taka then? I thought we were a team. Jugo said. I never said we were a team. The only thing I did to create the team is do all the minor work for me. Right now, my focus is finding my brother and get revenge on the Kages to end this world of darkness throughout. Sasuke replied. That's the same kind of thing that the Akatsuki would do. Create a world of peace away from the Kages. Karen said. I don't have time to deal with them. They have their own plans and I got mine. Now if you don't mind, leave my room at once. I need to sleep. Sasuke said. Fine then. Sorry we mess with you. Come on, let's go. Sujetsu replied as he, Jugo, and Karen were exiting from the room. Closing the door behind them. Good thing we got some rooms too. We better keep a close eye on him because he might make a break out of the village behind our backs. Karen and Jugo agreed. They quickly heard yelling from outside. They rush out of the inn and in the village. They saw a group of villagers in front of them seeing something. They walked towards the group to see as well. A man stood on a large cart with a tarp covering something. You're not gonna believe what I found. I've never seen anything like it. The man opened the tarp to reveal a dead body of an Xenomorph. The villagers were shocked to see the creature's body. The three were even stunned to see it. Excuse me, where did you found this? Karen asked. I found this on my way back to the village. It was dead on the road in front of me. I've never seen anything like it. The man replied. Jugo and Sujetsu examining the Xenomorph's body. The Kiri shinobi look at the body from top to bottom. He got a good look at the barbed tail. He touched some parts of the body. Amazing. I've never seen anything like it. He replied. Could this be one of Orochimaru's experiments? Jugo asked. Nah, it couldn't be. You think that snake would create these things? He would have had drawings for it. Sujetsu replied before turning to the man that found it. How long was it dead? I'm not sure. Maybe for about a couple days. I'm shocked that any animal would never eat it. You would think dead animals would be eaten and its carcass gone by days. He replied. Jugo noticed something burning on it. He see the wound of the creature's body. Touching it, a hissing sound where he quickly pull his hand out. Shit. That burns. He yelled as Jugo ran to a nearby water, placing it inside to cool it off. He looked at his fingers seeing like burn marks. What the hell does this thing has? Looks like the blood is acidic. Karen said. I think there's reasons why animals would never eat it. Sujetsu said. What the hell we're dealing with? Jugo asked. Meanwhile, Sasuke looked from the window of his room, seeing the dead Xenomorph. First it was humanoids, now it was creatures he was seeing. Never thought he would see anything like it. What the hell is that? It's like something I've never seen before. Whatever it is, I got a sense feeling that danger is coming at the horizon. He thought. Somewhere in the Fire Country, Orochimaru and Kabuto were journeying throughout the wooded forest. They were getting closer to the clearing. As they exit from the woods, they see the large temple in front of them. The two continue their journey towards the building. Standing in front of the large doors, they opened by itself. The two could sense the danger that was lurking inside. They walk in as the doors behind close by itself. They were following the torches and candles that light their path. They enter in the middle of the room of four large faces on the walls. Wow, wonder what kind of temple is this? Kabuto asked, looking around the temple. Trust me, it would have been on the map for Fire Country. Unless it was a forbidden place that the Hokages would never talked about before. It almost looks like our hideouts in the land of sound. It seems somebody is trying to outsmart me of my creations. Orochimaru replied. Well. I've never thought you would be here and I never thought I would see you again. The others turn around to see figures appearing from the darkness until they reveal their identities. It gave Orochimaru a smirk. Danzo. My word, I never thought it would be you. He replied, seeing both Fu and Torun also appearing. Then he saw two more following Danzo. And the Konoha Council as well. Homura and Kaharu. Orochimaru. Kabuto. It's been a while. Homura said. What are you doing here? Weren't you sent here as well? Kabuto asked. We have our plans for the time being. Especially for me to become the Hokage. Danzo replied. The Hokage? You really think you can beat Tsunade for that title? Orochimaru asked. Don't worry, that's already in the works for the time being. He replied. Well. I didn't think I would see familiar faces here. A voice was heard. Everyone felt a ton of chakra coming from their left. They turned towards a tunnel where a group were walking towards their position. The Akatsuki was making their presence known. Obito went, its mask of Tobi stood in front of them. Orochimaru and Kabuto. He looked to see familiar faces from the Hidden Leaf village. Anzo, Hamura, and Kaharu. So this is the Akatsuki that the Hokage was talking about. A group that want to create a peaceful world. Interesting. Danzo replied. Are you trying to taunt us? Juzo asked, pulling his Kubikirabacho out ready to attack. Fu and Torun pull out their weapons, ready for any attack by the group. Suddenly, they heard echoing of screeching sounds throughout. They all look around and more screeching sounds were getting closer and closer by the minute. Conan look up to see anything. Only the darkness above them. But she still has that sense of panic, knowing they are not alone. Kabuto look around at the tunnels of where they came from. He sense shadowing figures slowly approaching them. Sasori looks around, ready for anything that comes around. But then, he felt something on its left shoulder, dripping. He look on his left shoulder, seeing a wet spot appearing. What the hell is this? He asked, touching the spot. It shows it was sticky saliva on its fingers. He look up and saw an attack from above. He quickly used it jutsu by creating a puppet figure of himself. A barbed tail strikes on the puppet at the nick of time, dragging it towards the ceiling of darkness. The others except for Obito, Orochimaru, Danzo, and the Elder Council, pull their weapons out for the attack to come. You're okay, Sasori? Haiden asked. I'm fine. But what the hell was that? He replied, looking around. Be ready, there's coming out. Deidara said. They look around until they saw 3 figures appeared from them. 3 Xenomorph drones appeared behind the Akatsuki. Snaring and drooling saliva from their mouths, ready for fresh meat. Orochimaru and Kabuto were surprised by the appearance of the creature. Then they heard more screeching sounds. They turned to the tunnels where a couple of Xenomorph runners appeared from them. Surrounding them. Then more drones appeared, running on the walls and on the statue faces. By the time, a ton of Xenomorphs were surrounding the entire group in one room, ready to attack. What the fuck are these things? Deidara asked, looking around and his heart pounding. I've never seen anything like these creatures. Conan said. These things look ready to attack us. Haiden said. Both Obito, Danzo, Orochimaru, and Kabuto stood their ground. Not a single fear in them after seeing these creatures. Suddenly, the flute tune was heard throughout the temple. The group heard it, looking around to seeing who was playing it. At the same time, the Xenomorphs were standing down, not ready to attack the group. They were stunned by the reaction. They lowering their weapons for a while in case the creatures would attack. The flute music was getting closer as it was coming from another part of the tunnel. Out come a figure in the darkness. The Xenomorphs created an opening for their master to walk through. The others prepare their weapons for anything to come. The figure in the cloak walked to the middle, continuing his flute music for minutes until he stopped. Taking off his hood to reveal his identity. Welcome, everyone. My name is David. I'm here to change this world to the same goal as you guys are wishing for. He said. The others stood still, all looking at him, all confused. Danzo, Orochimaru, and Obito were staring right at the face of Satan. Question is, can they trust him? Meanwhile at the Hidden Leaf village, the Sand Village siblings have arrived at the village gates. They were confused at the celebration of the villagers in the village. Wonder what's this all about? Kabuto asked. I'm thinking the same thing. Temari replied. Ara saw both Katetsu and Izuma with their heads down. Almost looks like they're sad and devastated. Guys, we're here. Are you two okay? He asked the two. Look up at the Kazekage. Hey, the Hokage is expecting you. Katetsu replied. And the Mizukage is here as well. We'll take you to her right now. The Sand siblings followed the two as they were walking to the Hokage's office. At the same time, they see the villagers all celebrating like a big battle they just won. Gaara could hear the sound of the villagers screaming the demon is gone or the village is free from the demon. He was getting confused. Guys, why are these people celebrating? He asked. The Hokage will explain to you about it. Izuma said. He was getting confused by it. But he will get his answer from the Hokage. But it won't be a nice answer. The end. So how was this part? I hope you like it. And if you like it, share this part with your friends and like the video too. And don't forget to subscribe our channel for daily awesome fanfiction. Okay, it's time for me to go. Bye bye.